The Bourne Braves and the Cotuit Kettleers here from Doran Park. Welcome in to Before the Bravos. Nick is bumping. Hopefully the fans here at Doran Park are bumping because it's a big one tonight. The top two teams in the Western Division going toe for toe.
We got Drake on. Come on, bump a little bit.
Hey, I'm trying to talk about baseball here.
Loosen up a little bit, bump a little bit.
This is a big game tonight against the Cotuit Kettleers.
Game. It's a huge game, but we got a banger on right now, and we're gonna have a banger of a game probably.
I hope so. I'll see where your priorities are at right now as you're focused on the music, not on the game. Hopefully the Braves are focused on the game tonight because, like I mentioned, it's a big one, Nick. The top two teams in the West. Granted, there's about a 6.5 point differential between them. 6.5 game differential. The Braves with an 11-point lead in the West right now against Cotuit. The Braves at 33 points. The Kettleers at 22 points. But last time Cotuit was here, they came out with the win. It was a 2-0 decision. That was Nick Zwack's last game in a Braves uniform. He was selected in the 17th round by the New York Mets. Soon thereafter, made one mistake. Gave up one 2-run home run, and that was all the runs scored in the game. The Kettleers escaped with a 2-0 win here at Doran. What do the Braves got to do to let that not happen again?
I'd say win. Or, score some runs tonight, maybe.
Thank you, Nick.
This Bourne offense, it's not like they're coming off a barn burner of a game last night against Wareham. That was a game in which they just scored one run. It was all they needed, thanks to Michael Sansone, Eric Adler, Josh Agnes, Xavier Lovett, Dylan Bowers, and am I missing anyone? I don't think. I think I got them all. So the pitching was great last night. We know the pitching's probably going to be good tonight as well. It's been good all season, but they got to score a run because they didn't do that last time against Cotuit. You're going to lose games when you don't score.
It's a fair point.
It's a great,
that's a fair
accurate
point, as always.
But one thing I want to see them do tonight that they haven't done at home a lot, that's strike early. And I say it every time. It's because they never do strike early at home, it seems like. Do that tonight. Get a crooked number on the board within the first 3 innings, and you'll be on a good track to beat this Cotuit Kettleers team.
Well, last time we saw the Braves on this field, they beat Hyannis 8-7, but like you said, they had to battle back late. They found themselves in a 5-1 hole, had a big inning, 5-run inning, put them ahead, and then Kane Wallace, the hero, walking it off for the Bravos in the bottom of the 9th inning in that one to win that game 8-7. They've kind of scored here at home the past couple of games. The Hyannis game, the YD game before that where they had 10 runs on 15 hits. So the scoring woes at Doran have kind of shifted away. Hopefully that continues tonight. You mentioned just the single run in the 1-0 win last night against Wareham, but it was all they needed because of the stellar pitching performances from the guys you mentioned, Sansone all the way to Adler in the back end. But the 2 games before that, at home against Hyannis on Wednesday, at YD on Friday, 2 8-run performances, and it really looked like this lineup was unstoppable.
It really did. The offense was just clicking, and we saw that at the beginning of the year, too, in that win streak. Many of those games, the offense was fantastic. Then a little bit of a slide. They take the 2-0 loss to Cotuit, a 2-2 tie in Orleans. It was, what's going on with this offense right now? And then they started to pick it up again, but that's the story of baseball. It's going to happen. You got to ride the highs and lows. It's the roller coaster of the baseball season. All right, that's going to be my new term. That's going to come up again. So
wow, that's original too. That is original. I'm going to remember the day that Nick Galley coined the term "roller coaster of a season."
That's pretty good.
I'm going to remember that.
It's pretty. Just give me the small.
July
victories.
18th, 2021 will go down in history.
July 4th is old news. It's July 18th now. But anyway, it's a roller coaster. So you got to be there for the highs and lows. Buckle your seatbelt, strap in, get the shoulder rest over you, because it's going to be a tough one. But the Braves have responded well. Whenever they face some adversity, they respond well. Can you stop laughing at me? It's ridiculous.
I'm just saying
it's ridiculous.
You call me the king of cliches, and then you roll a cliche out there.
That was a soft toss.
And you claim it
Here.
you created
I'm
the
going to
cliche.
soft toss it. I want you to hit it out of the park. Right? You ready?
Yep.
Did nothing.
I thought you were going to give me like a term to fill in.
No, I was giving you a soft toss. You're
soft.
supposed to swing. Whatever. Get to the next point here. When are we going through this lineup?
All right, Nick.
My God.
All right, Nick. I'm not Reeves here. You don't need to be upset at me. So the Braves
I do hate Reeves Jackson.
The Braves and the Cotuit Kettleers going at it tonight here at Doran Park. Jordan Patty getting the ball tonight for the Bravos. Last time we saw him on the mound, it was Tuesday, I believe, out in Hyannis. Gave up 2 runs, a long home run to left field. Was also hit in the arm on a comebacker line drive.
Yep.
That was a game that Ben Etheridge started, and then Jordan Patty came in. We know the Braves this season have had that piggyback role, 4-4, get to the 9th inning, get to Eric Adler all season long. It was Ben Etheridge who got the start in that game. Jordan Patty came in the 5th inning, through innings 5 through 8. Tonight, we're going to see the opposite. It's going to be Jordan Patty the right-hander from Central Michigan getting the start, and then Ben Etheridge coming in behind him. That pair was very good in that win against Hyannis. How do they emulate that tonight?
It's very good. One thing I'm a little concerned about, a little bit of a quick turnaround right now. A little bit because this pitching staff isn't as deep as it once used to be.
Okay, yep.
So I think Harvey Shapiro is reaching a little bit than what he would usually like to do. He usually likes to give guys some pretty, long rest periods. We've seen that. And guys are not pitching too, it's 3-4 innings at most. Sometimes you get 5 out of your starter, but that's very rare. Saw it last night for, the third time this season? A starter go 5 innings, I believe?
Yeah, third or fourth.
Yeah, third or fourth. So it's going to be interesting to see. Also, the game that got rained out, I know you say it doesn't count, whatever, but we still saw it happen in Cotuit, the game that was postponed early in the fourth. Jordan Patty was getting hit by this Cotuit team.
He was.
So they've seen him. You can assume they feel pretty confident against his stuff. So he might need to switch a few things up. Maybe, work a different pitch a little bit more, throw some first pitch off speeds, get these guys off balance and see what you can do against a pretty strong Cotuit club.
Yeah, well, what he will do tonight is fill up the strike zone.
Yeah.
He doesn't walk guys. That's something he does very well. He'll keep that rolling tonight. You mentioned it's kind of a short turnaround. Tuesday to Sunday, it's only 4 days of rest. So we'll see how Patty and Etheridge deal with that. Granted, they only threw, I think Etheridge threw 4 innings, and I think Patty only threw 2.
I think so.
Maybe 3.
I
So
think
it's
so.
not like they're coming off an 8-inning performance. It's 4 days of rest, but they only threw 4 and 3 innings respectively. So we'll see how Etheridge and Patty are, if they're fresh enough to pitch great tonight against Cotuit in a game where the Braves might need their pitching staff to be top-notch. We're not asking for a shutout. Again, you're not going to shut out teams back-to-back nights. I know Wareham, the 1-0 win last night. You're not going to shut out every team every night. So just give the Braves offense a chance to win the game. We'll go through their lineup, but they're going against a very tough customer in Jake Brooks tonight.
No doubt about it. And I think this is a good original saying. All right, this is going to be my new saying.
Okay.
When you're going out there as a starting pitcher, just a pitching staff in general, I say 3 runs or less. That's what you want to kind of limit yourself to. I think you put yourself in a good chance to win if you give up 3 runs or less. So the saying, I'm saying, 3 runs or less, you avoid the mess. I mean, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I just came up with that.
All right, I'll give you respect
I like that.
for that.
I like that. 3 runs or less, you avoid the mess. That's the key for tonight. But yeah, Brooks has a .44 ERA, I believe, and that leads the Cape. So
for active qualified
for
starters.
active qualified starters. Yes.
Okay.
Because
Cotuit hasn't given up a run.
yeah,
He
it's
has
a
11 innings of work,
0.00 ERA.
but he hasn't started a game. So.
Exactly. So for active qualifying starters, .44 ERA.
Is that good?
That's pretty good.
Okay.
And we pitched, 20 innings, I believe?
It's up there, yeah.
It's right around 20. I think it is 20, right around 20, if not 20 on the nose. But that's pretty good. I don't think I could do that. I don't think you could do that. I don't think a lot of us on the broadcast team could do it. Reeves Jackson certainly couldn't. He was a pitcher. He couldn't do that. So, yeah, it's pretty good. It's going to be a tough matchup for Bourne, especially a team that we've seen them good at home offensively as of late, but the whole season it hasn't been there. So they're going to need to make a change, especially against a team that shut you out last time you were on this field against them.
3 runs or less.
Avoid the mess, Calvin.
We're going to make that into an acronym.
I need Joe to make that a graphic.
When you were first saying that, give up 3 runs, I thought you were defining quality start.
No.
Because that's 3 or less runs in 6 innings.
Yeah, I'm aware of what quality start is.
So you kind of just took quality start, twisted
and
it around.
took it around. I found a word that rhymed with less, and I went to work.
All right, I still like it. Nonetheless, we'll go through the Braves lineup now because I know that's what you've been waiting for.
Yes.
Christian Knapczyk had one of the 3 Braves hits last night. He's back in the leadoff spot playing at shortstop. Even if he's not getting hits, it seems like every time he's at the dish, he's putting up a quality at-bat.
I would sell my soul to be able to watch Christian Knapczyk hit leadoff for 162 games in a season, in an MLB season. I love this guy at leadoff. I just love him. He's great, Calvin. There's nothing more there's nothing that makes me happier than just that Christian Knapczyk slap double to left field. It's beautiful. How do you not love it?
What's gotten into you tonight?
I don't know. I'm feeling good, man. The vibes are good. We're back home. We got a home game tomorrow, too. Little 2-game homestand.
Yeah.
How can you not feel good? We're on camera now. We're usually on the radio. No one gets to see us. We look good today. You look great today. I look all right. I mean, what's not to love? We got our podcast going today.
Yeah, we did have our podcast.
We had a great podcast episode with Cole Chudoba.
Yep. Check that out on YouTube. Bravo's Banter on YouTube. We talked to Cotuit, Braves reliever tonight. He'll pitch tomorrow against Falmouth, but you can check that out.
Yeah.
Great interview, about a half-hour interview show with Cotuit. Was a great one today. We're going through this Braves lineup here and before the Bravos. Calvin Cristoforo and Nick Galley with you as always from high above Doran Park here in Bourne. The Bravos in the Cotuit Kettleers set to first pitch in just about 7 or 8 minutes, but we'll go down this lineup as we always do. We talked about Christian Knapczyk leading off. Max Anderson, he's been at the DH spot. He's been at the first base spot. He hasn't moved from that number 2 position in the lineup. That's where he is tonight, and he's back at his natural position, third base.
Been a little quieter than usual lately for the Max Anderson that we saw when he first got on the Cape, but huge hit last night with 2 outs, got the double. Dalton Rushing then brought him around with his double. It was the only run of the game last night. So even when Max Anderson isn't hitting at a 400 clip through a span of like 5 or 6 games, the guy is still producing. And that's going to get you far because every guy is going to go through slumps. Every guy is going to go through little skids. But can you still produce in those skids? Can you still find those ways to come up in the clutch? Max Anderson did so last night. So I'm looking to see what he does tonight because that had to give him some confidence. You know it did. So let's see what Max does.
He doubled last night, scored the game's only run, and that was because Dalton Rushing brought him around the base pass on a fly ball double to left field. They hit 2-3 last night. They're back hitting 2-3 again tonight. Dalton getting the night off from defense, just doing the designated hitting against the Kettleers.
Can't take this guy out of the lineup. You know, the other night in YD, that home run that he cranked to right. I mean, I know we were on the radio stream. I wish we were on the video stream because if you at home could see how he cranked that, I mean, just watch it, admire it, the little bat flip. I mean, that was a poster. I mean, that was a poster picture. I'd hang that in my room. And, you know, if I was a kid growing up, that is a picture I'd want in my room because that was a absolute blast. It was a missile. It was a missile. Something has gotten into me tonight. I don't know what it is.
All right,
I don't know what it is.
It was.
I gotta relax. I
mean,
relax.
in your defense, that was a photogenic home run, a no-doubt moonshot to right field. It seems like Dalton's been doing that in a couple of games. That on Sunday, last Sunday against Chatham, did it again on Friday night against YD. He's hitting third tonight, doing the designated hitting. Caden Wallace hits behind him, back in right field, hitting cleanup.
Unfortunately, his hit streak ended last night, but this is a guy who is still one of the best hitters on this team. He's still red hot. He's still been barreling up balls. I know his walk-off hit the other night was actually ruled a double, believe it or not. So officially ruled a double. So I don't think I gave him enough credit for his extra base hits the other day when we were on before the Bravos because I thought it was a single. We all kind of did.
Yep.
But, you know, he's not only hitting, he's getting extra base hits, and that's huge. When you can get a guy in scoring position with one swing of the bat, that's big for the guys coming up in the back end of the order.
Caden Wallace, another guy, we talked about it in this string of Braves hitters that have been playing very well. Braylon Wimmer, another one of those names. He's not in the lineup tonight. He's got the night off. Colby Thomas slides up. He's been usually hitting 6-7. He's hitting 5th tonight behind Caden Wallace, playing in left field.
Over his last 4 starts, he's got all 9 of his RBIs on the season. So that tells you what Colby Thomas has been doing. I mean, he's been bringing guys home now, and that's what we were always waiting for. You know, through the first couple weeks of the season, we were saying, we've seen Colby Thomas' swing in practice. When is it going to show in the games? It's starting to show, and that's been huge for the Braves in a time with so much turnover. And he's been a really solid bat in this lineup as of late. So I'm looking to see what he does with runners in scoring position tonight.
He's hitting 5th. Joe Lampe hits 6th, the guy who was a mainstay at the top of this Braves lineup early in the season, but he struggled a little bit. 0 for his last 14. Hit 6th last night in Wareham, hitting 6th again tonight against Cotuit. His bat is struggling, but his glove is way too good to stay out of the lineup, especially in a big game like this one.
Exactly, and one thing I love about Joe Lampe, I talk to him pretty much before every single game, have a little bit of a chat, and no matter how he's doing at the dish, he is still one of the most confident guys I've talked to. Tonight I was talking to him, and he goes, oh, it's going to be a good night. I'm getting a couple hits tonight. And I mean, that's how you have to be in baseball.
Yep.
So I'm not worried about Joe Lampe at all. Every guy is going to go through these skids, as I was saying earlier. Can you keep your confidence there? So many guys get down in the dumps, don't want to talk to you. But Joe Lampe, he's always talking to me. He's always laughing, has a smile on his face, and the confidence is there. So he's going to break out of it. Will it be tonight? Let's hope so.
Josh Moylan, I feel like, is another one of those guys who keeps a positive attitude.
Gets down, yeah.
And he's back in the lineup tonight. We're waiting for him to come alive. He's playing first base, hitting 7th.
Yeah, he's another guy who his attitude really gets him through things, and that says a lot because out here it's so easy to get down when you're going through a little bit of a skid. But Josh Moylan, another guy with a great attitude, and we've seen him starting to produce. So Lampy and Moylan, that's going to be an interesting duo tonight at 6 and 7 if they can produce for the bottom of the order. And then obviously when it comes around top, you're hoping to have guys on base.
Nick Goodwin has played and made his first start in the outfield maybe ever last night. Stays in the lineup tonight, hitting 8th, playing second.
It was his first start ever because Coach KG, Kevin Graber, was telling me last night that, Nick Goodwin said he had never played outfield, and KG was like, hey, now you can say you've played outfield because you have. And we saw KG kind of telling him to come in or go back every now and then, and he looked decent in the outfield. So
he looked pretty darn good in the outfield. We're going to take a quick pause for the national anthem. We'll be right back talking about Peter Burns, who's hitting 9th tonight, and then we'll quickly get you our picks to pop before Reeves and Daniel have the call here from Doran Park. All right, Nick, as we finish up the national anthem here, we're going to have a ceremonial first pitch, but let's talk about Peter Burns. He's back behind the plate, hitting 9th tonight.
I think Peter Burns is best offensively when he keeps the ball low. He's a guy kind of like Colby Thomas because we've seen Peter Burns kind of pull balls down the line or sometimes go opposite field with the ground ball, and that's when he gets extra base hits. That's when he gets on base. So that's really what I like to see from Peter Burns. We're going to see if we can see that in the 9th spot tonight. We know that this team isn't notorious for producing from the 9th spot. We'll see a couple breakout performances, like 3 for 4, 4 for 5 nights from that spot sometimes. But it hasn't been a consistent production area. So if they can get that going at the bottom of the lineup, that's going to be huge for this team.
All right, Peter Burns hitting 9th tonight. That rounds up the Braves' order. So, Nick, you know what time it is. Give me your pick to pop.
Oh, man. This is easy. I'm going Christian Knapczyk.
All right, you're going Christian Knapczyk. Ready? I'm going to say it. Josh Moylan is my pick to pop for tonight. It's going to be a close game late. I think Josh Moylan is going to have the big hit that gives the Braves the victory tonight.
I'd love to see that. That'd be great.
I got Josh Moylan. I took a little bit of a gamble there, but let's see how the Braves do against Cotuit. It's round 3 between the Bravos and the Kettleers. First pitch in just a couple of minutes. Reeves Jackson and Daniel Coates have the call here from Doran Park. Enjoy the game, everybody.
Back home at Bourne Park, we have a matchup against the team from the West Division, the only one that has put us in the win column, or in the loss column, I should say, and that is the Cotuit Kettleers, who they are dangerous. They're 11-10, but the Braves, by far the best record in the league, 16-2-3. We have a good one here today at home.
Yeah, we sure do. We got Jordan Patty on the mound as well. Patty, who gave up the 2-run homer to Hyannis in his last appearance out of relief, looking to silence a Cotuit offense that's actually one of the best in the league despite being 11-10, but Cotuit has been one of the hotter teams in all of the Cape League, and they beat us 2-0, as you mentioned the last time they were here, Daniel, so big test on the Braves' hands tonight.
The Cotuit Kettleers are one of those teams that just seem to have our number. They showed that in the last game, 2-0 loss here at Bourne Park just a week ago, and they also seem to have our number in that rainout where they were up by 3 runs, but
luckily that doesn't count.
The rain had our back that day. Jordan Patty on the mound. First pitch high and outside to Jace Grady, and Jordan Patty, we last saw him at Hyannis. He let up a 2-run shot and even got hit one right back to him. It nicked off of his wrist, but he battled back. One of 2 CMU pitchers who have been here today. High fly ball to right field. Going back is the outfielder, Caden Wallace, in his usual position out there in right field. The wind is whipping out in center field in favor of these batters, particularly towards left center. First batter faced a fly ball directly to Caden Wallace, and Jordan Patty is a guy that we haven't been too often to see in the starting role, but he is one of 2 Chippewas that are on this team. Andrew Taylor has departed. He is the other, and he's been more known as the premier starter, but Jordan Patty coming in today against a dangerous Cotuit Kettleer offense.
Yeah, Jordan Patty on the season, a 4.09 ERA. Has given up a run in each of his outings this year, 1 against Chatham, 2 against Falmouth, and then 2 against Hyannis, but has good strikeout numbers, 6 in his first outing, then 3, and then 5 over 3 innings against Hyannis. So he's going to get swings and misses for a guy that has a fastball that is 89-92. He's got a supplements it well, I should say, with a breaking ball and a nice changeup as well that he's not afraid to use. And this is a new-look Cotuit offense, Daniel. I think that's the story here. Cotuit lost 11 guys to the MLB draft or that signed via free agency after. So this is a Cotuit team that's new look. You look up and down the order. Some names that we haven't seen before. Jace Grady, Drew Compton, Alex Sayre batting 6th. Obviously, we've seen the rest of the guys, but their bench is a new-look team, and obviously their bullpen as well. No John Rhodes, who went 3rd round, 76th overall to the Baltimore Orioles. So excellent draft pick out of Cotuit.
1-2 after that fastball. And something that you need to keep an eye on if you're watching this game is that the lineups and the players have really changed as far as the last time that we saw this Kettleers team travel to Bourne Park. 1-2. That one travels in the dirt. And the MLB draft and some other effects that have come outside of the field have really changed this team, both teams around.
Yeah, it absolutely has. Obviously, the Braves losing 5 guys. Cotuit losing 11.
2-2. Popped up. Coming in is left fielder Colby Thomas. He finishes it for out number 2. So 2 flyouts for Jordan Patty. He seems to have the number of the top of the order here. Here comes Luke Gold, the designated hitter from Boston College.
Well, there's been a lot of up and downs and a lot of uncertainties throughout this Cotuit lineup. But the guy in the batter's box here has been one of the most consistent pieces and one of the best hitters in the entire league throughout the season. As Luke Gold coming into the game today, hitting .262, 4 homers, 16 driven in, including a home run yesterday versus Brewster in the 7-3 Kettleers loss.
He leads the team with 4 home runs. Breaking ball just drifts upstairs, but Luke Gold from my alma mater.
Yeah.
Behind him, Peter Burns, another Eagle. Good to see both of these guys on the same field again.
I'm sure they were talking it up as Luke stepped into the batter's box.
1-1 now. And Jordan Patty, what's something that you've seen of him in his starts and in his appearances for the Braves that he needs to improve on here today if he wants to escape with win number 17?
I think it's trying to avoid that one hitter that gets him. Obviously, it was the 2-run homer versus Caleb Pendleton in his last outing, and then gave up
4 hits and 2 runs against Falmouth. So I think it's just trying to limit how many base hits you allow. As Patty, sometimes he can leave a pitch over the plate a little too much, which obviously he's a strike thrower, though. He doesn't walk many guys, so that's going to happen. So it's tough to say because he's not going to try to paint the corner. It's not the pitcher he is. But obviously, let's hope he has a little better luck tonight and not giving up a home run.
Luke Gold is staying alive, and he's getting ahead of these batters early on. Same here with Luke Gold, 1-2 with 2 outs in the top of the first. The last game was a 2-0 loss when we saw Cotuit a week ago at Bourne Park. That was the first loss that was handed to him. It was a little over a week ago, I should say.
Yeah, well, the guy who did the damage in that game is gone, Andy Garriola. He was undrafted but decided to leave Cotuit, although he'd never signed.
1-2 just misses. 2-2 high and upstairs to the right.
Usually you see guys that are draft eligible that don't get drafted but don't want to sign. Usually they'll just finish out the season. So interesting move by Garriola to leave the team. He was slowly becoming one of the team's best hitters after enforcing himself in the lineup in the early part to the middle part of the season and had that big 2-run shot to center field.
And that 2-run shot is really what did it. In a Bourne Braves staff that usually has the bats going, didn't have it last night at Spillane Field, but Michael Sansone and the rest of the bullpen really showed up and really proved that they're going to be the MVP, I should say, of this team. Another foul ball from Luke Gold.
Yeah, 5 guys that were excellent last night. It was Sansone who went 5. He got the win as the Braves ended up getting him a run in the in the top of that inning. Sansone finished the bottom half. And then Josh Eknes, a clean inning. Drew Bowers, a clean inning and 2/3 inning, and then ran into some trouble after 2 outs that he got in the 8th. Xavier Lovett came in and did a great job to get the final out, and then Eric Adler, his usual dominant self.
Swing and a miss on a fastball upstairs. 1-2-3 for the CMU Chippewa Jordan Patty. To the bottom of the first, where the Braves will have the bats in their hands for the first time today against the Cotuit Kettleers. Scoreless at Bourne Park. Getting some final preparation done on the mound for Jake Brooks for the Cotuit Kettleers. He is most certainly their ace and has the best ERA in the Cape Cod League this season.
Yeah, at .43 among qualified pitchers, and he's definitely qualified 20 and 2/3 innings. He struck out 16, allowed 17 hits, so teams can get hits off of Jake Brooks. He allowed 7 against Wareham in the 5-2 loss. 3-1 on the year as Brooks. He picked up the loss in that game, only allowed 1 run. And you think, oh, wow, he's got the best ERA in the league, so he must be throwing 96, 97, 98. No, 91-92. It's a four-seam fastball, but it has a lot of sink to it. Not a two-seamer, not a sinker as you might think if you can see this ball dive. He's got a lot of run to that four-seamer. He's got a slider at around 82, 83, and then heard from the Cotuit broadcasters, he's been working on a changeup. He will throw it in the game, but it's a lot like Michael Sansone, 76, 77, really slow pitch. So if you see that coming today, that is the changeup. So good arsenal here for Jake Brooks.
Especially for an inexperienced changeup, that could be something that the Braves got to keep an eye out for, to jump all over. But there is no doubt that Brooks is one of the best pitchers that you'll see on the Cape Cod League, and he'll be the starter here for Cotuit today. He'll first have to face Christian Knapczyk, who has gotten comfortable in the one spot. Faces a first pitch strike. Not a ton of pace here from Brooks, but Christian Knapczyk taking over for what seemed to be Joe Lampe's the entire beginning of the season.
Yeah, that leadoff spot, but Knapczyk arguably has done just as good of a job, if not even better. I think just for Joe Lampe, try to get him in a position in the order where he can see some fastballs. So obviously putting him in the sixth spot right in the middle, a good fastball hitting count once you get past the cleanup guys and before you get to the bottom of the order. But Knapczyk has been excellent. Obviously one of the team's leading hitters thus far on the season is Christian Knapczyk at a .328 average, second on the team in base hits behind his teammate at Louisville, Dalton Rushing.
He chops that one foul. It will stay at 1-2.
Yeah, he gets high praise from everyone around the league who's talking to the Cotuit side of their staff today, and they were raving about one guy, and that was Christian Knapczyk. Obviously, they talked about the rest of the guys and how they've been able to do, but the guy that is their biggest pest, the guy they have to worry about the most, is this guy right here. And for good reason. Even the at-bat, the first at-bat of the game yesterday against Wareham, taking that count full, and then draws the walk. In what, a 10-pitch at-bat?
And he had a very similar at-bat at Red Wilson Field against YD. He's looking to battle back here as well. 2-2. He fights that one towards Cape Cod Upper Tech, and it just gets onto the roof, to the displeasure of all the little fans here today, all the kids running around in an overcast Sunday evening.
Is that a Falcons sweatshirt I spy? It sure is.
2-2, ripped down the first base line, unable to handle it is Martorella. Christian Knapczyk stays at first, but again, and for the third game in a row at the one spot, leads off and gets on base. The two before that was via the walk, but not sure how they're going to score that. It is an E3, so Christian Knapczyk getting on whichever way he can. Max Anderson behind him, the Big Ten freshman of the year, looking to send over Christian Knapczyk and get some runs across the board. We were scoreless in the last appearance against Cotuit when they traveled to Doran Park about a week and a half ago. Knapczyk has to scurry back.
Interesting, Martorella not covering the bag there, at least on it, so I guess he is. He's just not right on the bag, if you can see over there at first, where Martorella's a few inches off there.
Anderson batting at a .291 average. That one gets out of play. 0-1.
Anderson had that big double last night in the fifth with two down. That ended up setting up the Dalton Rushing double that bounced off of the wall in left field at Spillane Field. So Max Anderson, I tell you what, it was a gapper to the right center field alley, and look how big it is right now. This guy loves hitting to the opposite field, and he's one of the best to do it here on this team. So if you're Cotuit, you got to be careful giving Max so much space out there in right center, because he'll torch you, as Sayre out there in right is playing extremely close to the line.
Good bounce from Knapczyk, but that's a swing and a miss. 0-2 to Anderson, who has just fell underneath the 300 mark. He's been in 13 games with 55 at-bats and has posted 16 hits, including 4 doubles. So impressive stuff from the Nebraska Cornhusker, with the Louisville Cardinal, Christian Knapczyk, at first now. Swing and a miss, a rare strikeout in the 2 spot for Max Anderson. That accounts for the first out against the Braves. Here comes Dalton Rushing, who has been about as consistent as any Bourne Brave batter.
Yeah, Dalton Rushing, the second leading hitter in the league at a .338 average, only behind Colin Davis of Brewster, who's 21 for 50, rushing 22 for 65 on the season. When you're one of the best hitters in the Cape League, that is an impressive thing to do, and he's going to look to keep it going today. But you see on that Jake Brooks fastball, you can see how much movement to Max Anderson. Almost looked like a changeup that was diving down and back in there to Anderson on that second to last pitch before he struck out, and then he goes fastball upstairs and it dives back in.
There goes Knapczyk. Can he get in safe? He can. A wayward throw from Donlin allows Knapczyk to advance to second. Looked like he was going to be safe either way if the throw was on point. But a Bourne Brave enters scoring position, and Dalton Rushing looking to send his Cardinal teammate home.
Yeah, the Braves don't steal a lot of bags. They're last in the league coming into this game. That's Knapczyk's fourth, though, tied for the team lead now with Joe Lampe. And on the season now, this is just a Bourne Braves team that just picked up their 15th steal, which is one behind YD. As Bourne last in the league. They don't run much. Harvey does not like to run, although he's got a few speedy guys. Plays a little more conservatively.
Which kills me because I love the aggressive base running. I love it.
But hey, base hit here after the steal will surely get a run in.
0-1 off an off-speed pitch for strike number 2. Looked like the changeup.
Yeah, beautiful changeup there. We talked about him experimenting with that pitch, Daniel. Kind of does look like Sansone's, obviously from the right side, but has a lot slower pace to that ball.
And with the batter's point of view that we have behind here in the broadcasting deck, that thing comes in really slow.
Yeah, it sure does. That's why it's so effective.
0-2 stepping off. Knapczyk not going back to the bag. There's no one covering there in the middle of the infield. One of the best infields defensively that we're going to see this season.
Yeah, if not the best. Obviously, when you got Schobel and Knapczyk out there, it's going to come close to rivaling Ryan Ritter and Eric Brown, but I hate to say it might be number 2 to this combination. They are some of the slickest fielding infielders in the league.
0-2 battled back.
And they're both interchangeable, too. We've seen Brown at short, Ritter at second, but I think throughout the season, Coach Mike Roberts has come to the realization that he likes Ryan Ritter out of Kentucky a little more at short, and Eric Brown, who is with the Chanticleers of Coastal Carolina over at second base. And Knapczyk is he's on Jake Brooks' mind quite a lot over there.
He most certainly is. Brooks really having to keep an eye on him. Dalton Rushing, who leads this team with 22 hits on the season. And that's why he's in the 3 spot. The designated hitter today, first ball to him inside.
Well, you might be asking yourself, who did this Cotuit team lose? Well, they lost John Rhodes, Andy Garriola, Ben Rice, Cade Cummings, Brooks Baldwin, Dylan Beavers, Blake Klassen, RJ Schreck. I mean, the list goes on and on. This is a team who, honestly, kind of lucky in a way that Cotuit hadn't figured it out early in the season with as much talent as they had, because with the talent they had, they could have been a lot closer to Bourne in these standings, but now they lose some of that talent, and they're going to have to fight even harder to get a playoff spot.
Breaking ball drifts outside. You're exactly right. 11-10, which for the West Division is actually a fairly efficient record, mostly battling for the 2 spot. The Braves well ahead, 16-2-3, a dominant hold on the West Division and really the Cape Cod League in general.
Yeah, 6.5 games up on second place Cotuit. If that doesn't tell you how strong they've been.
Oh, a close call off a 2-2, breaking ball high and inside to Dalton Rushing, the second strikeout from Brooks.
Yeah, beautiful changeup right there. Just came back in her half, caught Rushing. And you see the similarities between that, what we call a four-seam fastball, what he calls it, although the way he throws it, maybe puts a little spin on that hand because it comes out like a two-seamer or a sinker, and his changeup almost eerily mirrors it in a very similar way. Just the velocity is about 14, 15 miles an hour slower. Makes it tough, but this is a guy you want to the plate here with 2 down here, Daniel.
A guy with a .309 average, Caden Wallace, the Arkansas Razorback, swings and misses again at a breaking ball. Really have to guess against Browns, or Brooks, I should say, breaking ball versus his fastball. And even with the changeup coming in, it's an array of different pitches that the Braves have been off balance a bit. Christian Knapczyk has been the only one to strike it fair. 0-2 quickly to Caden Wallace. Christian Knapczyk in scoring position would not be a great start to leave a Bourne Brave, especially in scoring position, stranded at the end of this inning.
Yeah, I got lucky a little bit over there with that error by Nathan Martorello, but still, would be nice to come through and capitalize. You got a wide open hole on the right side if Caden wants to choke up and shoot it over there with Eric Brown playing close to the bag at second.
0-2 fastball just misses, 1-2.
I mean, what I heard on the scouting report from Jake Brooks was whoever told me that was spot on, because that fastball has so much late life to it. That almost caught the corner when it came back. Got to be very aware of that here today if you're in the Bourne lineup.
1-2. Another ball outside, 2-2, with 2 outs in the bottom of the first. The last time Caden Wallace was in the batter's box for the Braves, he sent a shot to right field in the bottom of the 9th to defeat the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, where his teammates met him at second base, ripping off his jersey.
Pouring water all over him.
In shockingly what was our first walk-off win in the entire year.
Yeah, crazy. Crazy, crazy.
Now a full count and a payoff pitch coming. A good way by Caden Wallace to battle back in the count.
It almost just felt like we weren't going to get one. And then it finally happened. We came into that 9th inning the last time we were here, as you mentioned, trailing. Colby Thomas got some help from the left fielder of Hyannis. And Knapczyk singled him home. Braves got Knapczyk over to second. And Caden Wallace played the hero after they intentionally walked Dalton Rushing, who was way ahead 3-1, against Luke Mann, who drove in 4 runs in that game. That game had all sorts of storylines to talk about. Let's hope this one does tonight too, but for the Braves.
Full count just misses. A few balls on the outside corner from Brooks sends the second man on base for the Bourne Braves. Caden Wallace at first. On second, Christian Knapczyk. Colby Thomas from Mercer at the plate. One of, if not the hottest batter on this team right now.
Yeah, 9 RBIs in his last 5 games. Granted, 6 more than 1 when he was a single shy of the cycle, but a 3-run homer at YD the other day. That's a rare walk there for Jake Brooks. In 20 2/3 innings coming into today's game, now 21 1/3. He's only recorded 1 walk, just his 2nd walk of the season in a large amount of innings.
A high drive to center field right there is Grady for out number 3. 2 men stranded at the end of the first. Caden at first and Christian Knapczyk at second. The Bourne Braves remain scoreless, 0-0 at Doran Park in this Western Division matchup.
baseman from Cal Berkeley, number 18, Nathan Martorella.
Nathan Martorella, the first baseman for the Cotuit Kettleers, to step in, the lefty, against Jordan Patty in his second inning. We're at the top of the second with no runs scored from either team. Lights on here, overcast day. We just dodged the weather up north that it was raining when I was coming back down here from the Cape. Swing and a miss. 0-1. From what has been the rainiest July in recorded history for Massachusetts. One, or top 3 rainiest, I should say.
Crazy. And
welcome
of course,
to
I'm up here. I
Massachusetts.
brought that rain with me from Georgia. Not fun. But hey, it's been quite nice though. The past 4 or 5 days. I'll say that. Maybe Boston and the mainland getting all that rain we saw here a few weeks ago.
2-1, fastball drifts upstairs. Martorella at first recorded that error. Christian Knapczyk slapped one down the first base line, and he just couldn't handle it. Ricocheted off his left hip. Tough bounce for him at first.
Yeah, Martorella, 273 clip on the year. No homers and 6 driven in.
Fouled back. Now 2-2. We have another good crowd here at Bourne Park. The buzz continues around this team. They are the talk of the town, 16, 2-3, looking to make it 17 tonight against what I would consider our rivals, the Cotuit
Yeah,
Kettleers.
by far and away our biggest rival here in this league. As a team that, as you mentioned, out of all the teams, I'd say Chatham and then Cotuit, the two teams who have had the Braves number. We luckily tied Chatham thanks to Braylon Wimmer. You know, that single to right field, and then they beat us 5-2 when Omewood gave up 4 runs, and we lost in that game early on.
Full count, fielded by Goodwin, across his body for out number 1.
Hey, credit Jordan Patty right there. That ball might have been destined to head up the middle. Patty got his glove on it just barely, but just barely slowed that ball down enough where Goodwin can make a beautiful backhanded play and to throw across his body.
I'm sure that's exactly how he drew it up. I'm
Right.
going to ricochet it to my second baseman. He's going to pick it up, backhand it, throw across his body.
And kind of helps when you have the first baseman running, too.
Well, I'll tell you what, it does speak to how this team has meshed, especially the infield that has been what I would consider, actually, maybe I shouldn't say that because the outfield has been stellar as well. For strike 1 here, Jordan Patty against the 5 spot, Eric Brown.
And was down near the Cotuit dugout. Obviously, I know Cotuit's broadcasters very well, Chris and Stephen Carey. Go to Georgia with them, and Eric Brown came over. He said he was going to hit a homer tonight. So we'll see. Let's hope not. Let's hope he's wrong on that, but that's what he said. He always asks the Cotuit guys for a score prediction. Obviously, they're not going to say they lose, so everyone said Cotuit's going to win. So let's hope everyone's prediction on the other side of the field, Daniel, very wrong. Let's hope for it.
Well, he's facing a 1-1 count. 1 out in the top of the second. Hard hit line drive right there is Colby Thomas. He snags it just above his head for out number 2. Eric Brown, although not a home run, well-struck ball.
He was thinking deeply.
He was thinking that for sure. He has a funny little stance, almost Youkilis-esque. We know him. Kevin Youkilis, one of the more famous alumni of the Bourne Braves teams. But going back to the conversation of outfield versus infield, I was going to say that the infield has been the strong suit of this team defensively, but right there, Colby Thomas is a reason why I don't know if I can say that.
I mean, this has just been a Bourne Braves team who, one of the most excellent fielding teams in the entire Cape League, just top to bottom. Obviously, I think middle infield. I mean, you look at last night's game, though. Third to first in the infield, everybody.
That one gets down for a base hit, the first of this game, and the Cotuit Kettleers finally have a man on base. Jordan Patty allows Alex Sayer to spray one, blooping in between the 2 middle infielders.
Yeah, Sayer played in his first game, just a new arrival to Cotuit with all of their losses. Alex Sayer plays at Wright State University. Another guy at Wright State, Zane Harris, over big lefty for Hyannis. So they're familiar with each other. I'm sure they'll see each other soon, being interdivision. Went 1 for 3 last night, so picks up his second hit in a Kettleers uniform. And Brett Roberts, a guy who's been seen in the infield a lot for Cotuit out in left field tonight.
Punt. Bunt pulling back, not a punt.
back behind the center.
That was a bunt from Roberts. This is Brett Roberts from left field defensively. Then the 7 spot. He has his man ahead of him and Alex Sayer at first. 0-1. Nubbed foul towards the Kettleers dugout.
Yeah, not a bad summer so far for Roberts. 255, 12 for 47. Homered once. He's driven a 9. And is 3 for his last 6 at the plate, dating back to Chatham on July 16th. He has definitely not been an everyday starter for the Kettleers. Has appeared in 16 of their 21 games. Not all of them starts, though. A few pinch hit opportunities.
That one kept in front of him. Peter Burns guns it down. Not in time, though. Sayer makes it to second base off a pitch that drifted into the dirt. This is a Chippewa versus Seminole matchup.
Yeah, nice job there by Alex. Yeah, it's a tough ball to run on, but aggressive, and maybe a good throw makes that play a little closer and you potentially get him, but just aggressive base running by Sayer. Now a 2-strike base hit by Roberts likely gives Cotuit the first run of the game.
Jordan Patty is still ahead, though. 1-2, 2 outs. Swing and a miss. Chopper, Knapcheck has to scoop it right off the dirt. He has him in time. Good throw over there from the left side of the infield. Knapcheck making the transition from second base over to short, taking over Tanner Schobel's duties. 0-0. The Bourne Braves have a second opportunity at the home plate.
Ladies and gentlemen, number 4, Joe Lampy.
Joe Lampy in the 6th spot to start things off. He has been on a bit of a slide offensively. 0 for 14 in his last recent appearances. Trying to right the ship here against the Cotuit Kettleers. 0-0 in the bottom of the second.
Yeah, Joe Lampy obviously struggled with a few strikeouts in the middle of this current 14-game slump, but yesterday he looked great, Daniel. Obviously it was 0 for 5, but hit 0 for 4, but hit into a lot of hard outs, which is what you like to see.
He takes the changeup foul down the left field line. 0-2 quickly to the 6th spot hitter.
I think Joe just needs to see a more heavy dose of fastballs. And once he gets on track with that again and sees the base hit go through, he'll be good to go. Ooh, he was on that pitch. Just missed that one.
0-2 it remains. Batting .269 coming into the game. Has been here since the very beginning for the Braves. On deck is Joshua Moylan, who has had success at Doran Park most recently. 0-2 fouled off of his ankle. Joe Lampy, who is in center tonight, as sure-handed as any outfielder you're going to see in this league.
Yeah, Joe Lampy. Going back to that defensive conversation for the Braves, and how they've been this year. Second best defensive percentage in the Cape this season, .975 fielding percentage. I mean, you look at everybody. Colby Thomas has been incredible in left this year. Caden Wallace has been great in right. Joe Lampe, we know he's one of the best defenders in the league in center. And then across the infield, Zach Agnos makes it look too easy over there. They're almost to a point where it's like, are you sure you know what you're that good defensively? It's pretty crazy. And then at short, obviously, you got Schobel, Knapczyk are interchangeable. And Max Anderson. I was tweaking about last night's defensive lineup. Max Anderson has settled in nicely over there to first base in just 2 games over there.
1-2, turned 2-2 after a breaking ball drops low by the knees of Joe Lampe, who now has Christian Knapczyk up with him in stolen bases on the team as the leader. High pop fly. Looks like the catcher, Donlin, is going to be called off by Brooks, and that's out number 1. Fly out from Joe Lampe.
Yeah, rarely do you see the pitcher take charge. We saw that with Hyannis with Servallo the other day, who ended up calling off his catcher, Pendleton. But a nice job there by Brooks. If you know you're going to catch it, then take it.
1 out for Joshua Moylan. The fastball inside for strike 1. 1 out, bottom of the second. Boy, the difference in speeds from the varying pitches from Brooks is something else as that pitch drifts outside. And you can so easily tell from our vantage point, and I'm sure from the batters, just how hard it is to gauge what pitch is coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. Without a doubt. That's why he's one of the best pitchers in the league, if not the best.
2-1. Three and 1 hitters count. This is to Joshua Moylan from East Carolina. He's batting .139 in the 12 games that we have seen him. Defensively, he's at first base tonight in that first base rotation. 3 and 1. Full count now, and a first base positional rotation that has taken a turn, most notably because of the drafting and departure of Colton Bender.
Yeah, not going to see Dalton Rushing over at first too much more. We see him at DH tonight, but in the field, you're going to see him primarily at catcher until the Braves could potentially get a catcher in.
Full count, sprayed to left field. Underneath it is Roberts for out number 2. Joshua Moylan takes the count the entire way and just pokes one to left field, unable to get down again. The wind here really whipping out in center field. It's favoring the batters and the sluggers on both teams. We saw a couple of hits during batting practice that these balls just keep drifting and drifting and drifting. I would not be surprised to see a home run or 2 or maybe even more tonight. Starting with this guy right here, Nick Goodwin, who takes a first pitch strike on the outside corner.
Yeah, interesting because sometimes, although we're blocked pretty well by this broadcast booth up here, usually we can feel the wind. We see that whipping out in center. We can't really feel it that much though here.
0-2, and I think it's died down since the time of the pregame batting practice. 0-2 quickly here, but you can't really feel it. We are also blocked by a really nice setup that we have here in the broadcasting deck, a wall to our right and behind us, so we might not be able to feel the full elements right here. 1-2 now.
Yeah, Nick Goodwin, who we saw for the first time in left field last night. He really only had one chance on that line drive that he executed fine.
That's a looking strikeout for out number 3. Both pitchers look dialed in. Only one hit throughout 2 innings, and that was in favor of Cotuit. 0-0 at Doran Park. Scoreless in Bourne for the third inning. Jordan Patty will take over duties of the pitcher and continue to hopefully hold the Cotuit Kettleers to one hit. Reeves, take over.
Thank you, sir. Ryan Ritter steps in 8-9-1 for the Kettleers as Jordan Patty has looked excellent so far, has just issued the one base hit. That was to Alex Sayre. Ryan Ritter, who has been pretty solid of late for this Cotuit team. The shortstop from Kentucky. Ritter, .238 average on the season. Has a few hits in his last few games, though, including a home run July 12th. That was at Wareham, a game that was on Nesson. Watches that breaking ball miss away. 2-1. We mentioned, though, defensively, Ritter and Brown have gained a lot of notoriety across the league for their strong performances defensively. Overcast night here at Dorn Park, and a nice pitch sends Ritter to his knee. He swung out of his shoes right there, count even at 2-2.
He put every ounce into that swing. Fell to his knee, and Jordan Patty not necessarily throwing gas at the moment that we've seen in the upper 90s, but he is picking his spots really well.
2-2, bounced up the middle. Knapczyk moves to his left. Across the diamond, throws over to first, takes care of Ritter by a half step. Ritter looked like maybe with a little more effort could have beaten that out. But regardless, he's retired.
A good stretch from Moylan over there.
Yeah.
And how about Knapczyk just seamlessly making the transition to his right over there at shortstop? Tanner Schobel not in the lineup today, but Knapczyk looks as comfortable as ever. Great to have a guy that you know you can count on no matter where you put him in the middle of the infield.
Here is Matthew Donlin, the catcher, who takes a slider called strike right there, 0-1. And this one line to the right center field. That's going to get down. Wallace over there to cut it off. He can't get it. Joe Lampe is right there. Donlin takes a big turn around first, but wisely heads back, and he has got a one-out single. Nice piece of hitting from Matthew Donlin, who we have seen start every game behind the plate for Cotuit when they have played our Braves.
Good backup from Lampe as well. Caden Wallace just couldn't get the backhand, and that's something that you got to keep an eye out for. It's a weakness of this defense that I've noticed as of late is fielding these singles and trying to hold a single as a single rather than bobble it out in center or maybe get past the glove and improve that for the other team to a double.
Well, Jace Grady, since arriving here to Cotuit from Dallas Baptist, has simply just been one of the best hitters on the team. Coming into play today, hitting .400, 6 for 15, riding a 4-game hitting streak ever since he first started, and gave a ball a deep drive into right that Caden Wallace had to track down near the warning track in his first at-bat. So someone you got to be careful with at the top of the order. Patty, a long pause. As Jace Grady, 1 for 4, he scored 2 runs against Harwich. That was in his first game on July 13th. Went 1 for 3 against Wareham, scored another run. And then his best game yet was a 3 for 4 showing against Chatham in a 7-6 win where he scored 2 more runs. So already scored 5 runs in just 4 games. He's an on-base machine. He sends this one back to Patty. He gloves it, now fields it, now throws it over to Moylan and makes a nice recovery to get the runner at first and records the second out.
I thought that was a lost play, but Jordan Patty having the composure to pick up a bobbled high chopper and just gun it over to second. I'm sure he was thinking in his head turn 2, but he just had to collect himself and get the man Jace Grady at first. So a good defensive play from Grady on the mound. There is a Cotuit Kettleer now in scoring position, but again, give yourself 2 outs, only 1 more to deal with, and just focus in on this batter.
Another one of these new guys who joined Cotuit just recently, Drew Compton, whose heart lies up here in the north from Berkeley Heights, New Jersey, but goes to school down in the south at Georgia Tech. First pitch over to first base to Josh Moylan. He corrals it. He'll flip it over to Jordan Patty, who touches the bag at first. And Patty once again works around a runner on base as the Braves bats back up here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. But first here, obviously, in what has been such an impressive start to this season, Calvin, for the Braves thus far. Sometimes we've seen it in sports kind of all over the place when teams are going so well. They can almost just put it on cruise control and coast in to the end of the season. But this is important for the Braves to stay focused and remain focused. How do the Braves do that to ensure that they stay in first place with the best record in this league?
Normally in a team in the Braves position, that could be a problem, mailing it in with such a big lead this early in the season. But for this team, I don't think that's the case. Talking to guys around the dugout, they're a team that's not going to be looking on their phones and checking the standings every night or looking at the scores around the league. They're going to do what they've been doing all season. That's showing up at the ballpark, playing hard night in and night out. And if they do that, they should have no problem sprinting to the finish line throughout the rest of the season and finishing this year on a high note.
We'll be back to you in the next inning.
Thank you, Calvin. Great report. I think that's very important for the Braves to do, obviously, Daniel, if they want to stay in first place. But in your eyes, sometimes, just as I asked Calvin just now, sometimes a team, when they're up 6.5 games in second place and they're going so well, I think that's the difference between a really good team and a great team. Teams that sometimes put it in cruise control mode and they can kind of coast throughout the rest of the season, knowing that they might have first place secured. And a team that really seems like what we're seeing with Bourne, a team that is locking it in every single night, knowing that they're not taking any game here for granted.
And knowing that they still have things to improve on, the bats haven't been there, still no hits, and we only got one run yesterday. That was because of a Max Anderson double followed by a Dalton rushing double. So there's still offensive production that we need to see continue to improve, but the pitching has been just stellar throughout this entire season. And Jordan Patty looks like he's putting out another great start. I think for Harvey Shapiro's team, it's every game come out here and not just, this league is meant for players to put themselves out there and show what they have against the highest talent in collegiate baseball, but in the same way, they want to win for their team, and this team has meshed in a way that we have not seen in the Cape League this season, and they continue to try and prove that they are the most dominant every single game that they come out here.
And one is taken for a strike there to Peter Burns, who is 5th on this team in on-base percentage. We talk about it all the time with Peter, and obviously has a great eye as a catcher, so has a keen sense for the pitches coming in against the opposing guy. Takes a lot of walks as he chops this one over to first base. Mortarella over to Jake Brooks, and a quick out here for the UCLA right-hander.
To the top of the order as well. Can't say enough about Peter Burns. Even our own Will Henschel, our PA announcer, told us before the game that he thinks that Peter Burns is the most underrated player on this team, and I think I have to agree. He's 3rd in on-base percentage. He just knows how to get it done, and not that, but we talk about the pitching, but how about the way that he's called behind the plate these different games?
Yeah, he's called excellent games, obviously, for a Bourne pitching staff that leads this league in staff ERA, just a hair over 2.3 at 237. Nothing in one here to Knapczyk. He watches a fastball that almost bit back in that inside corner, but just missed. Knapczyk got the Braves in the hit column yesterday with a 4th inning base knock before, a 3rd inning base knock before the Braves broke through in the 5th. 1-1. Takes a fastball that misses upstairs, so a game that is mirroring what we saw last time Cotuit came in. Excellent pitching. And both of these offenses trying to scrape across at least a few runs. Here's the 2-1, and that misses away.
And this is what Knapczyk does. Even if he knows that the pitches aren't going to be his to slap into a gap or get on base with, he knows how to work a count. He knows how to fight and battle away those pitches that he doesn't want, and he jumps all over the ones that are inside with him and takes it usually to the opposite way, as he does right there.
Into left field, Brett Roberts backs up, should have no trouble, and he does not. 2 quick outs here for Jake Brooks. And I think we've gotten an up-close and personal look at what makes Jake Brooks so effective. That fastball is so hard to hit with how much movement it has on it, and supplements it well with his slider, and with that changeup that we've seen only a handful of times tonight, but when he's thrown it has been effective. Here's Max Anderson. And see how much bite that has on it, the first pitch strike.
Anderson with his 10th strikeout in 13 games. He's usually so effective in the 2 spot. Hasn't gotten off to the best start, obviously. He struck out back in the first, but a 1-1 count here, an opportunity to replicate what he did in the 5th inning at Spillane Field with a double, and behind him on deck right now is Dalton Rushing.
Well, I was actually right a minute ago. Knapczyk's single was in the 4th inning last night, the first Braves hit. So the Braves trying to get in the hit column here tonight sooner than they did a night ago here in the bottom of the 3rd. Anderson represents that chance here as he takes a fastball outer half. Braves got 2 runners on in the 1st inning. Knapczyk reached on the air by Mortarella, and Caden Wallace walked on a close 3-2 pitch. Anderson, who struck out swinging in his first plate appearance, looking to avoid the same here, 2-2, and spoils this one out of play foul. See the sun trying to fight to come out. You see a semblance of blue sky back to the right up here, and then you look behind us, and it looks like there could be bad weather rolling in. We hope it's going to miss us, though. There is still a percentage of rain that could hit us.
Every time we play Cotuit,
right?
There's some chance of rain.
I think they bring the somber weather.
We'll go with that.
Yes.
But last time we called it at Wool Park. I actually think the last time we played here, it was a perfect day.
3-2 swing and a miss. That's a breaking ball in the dirt. Anderson chases, and outside goes Donlin over to Martorella, and that will take care of the Braves in the bottom of the 3rd. When we come back, we'll have a special guest joining us for the top and the bottom of the 4th inning, and we'll introduce you to him next, right here from Dorn Park. Reeves Jackson here, joined by a special guest, General Manager Darren Weeks. Darren, great to have you. How's everything going?
Oh, it's great. It's been a lot of fun this summer so far. As we can tell, it's a great organization here with the a lot of fans, a lot of wins. Obviously, it's been a lot of fun. Even you guys aren't too bad this year.
Thank you, Darren. Hey, I'll take not too bad. That's a compliment. Obviously, I mean, another great turnout here today. The Braves, who had just over 1,700 on opening night, broke almost 1,850 on Kids Night a few days ago. So the crowd is turning out to see a Braves team that already was 16 wins on the season. Got to love to see that.
Well, the fans are itching for baseball, so it's great to be back.
Jordan Patty back on the mound here, top of the 4th inning against arguably Cotuit's best hitter, Luke Gold from Boston College, your alma mater.
He's obviously a smart kid.
And fouls the first pitch back. Darren, you take a look at this team and their body of work through the first almost 20 games of the season. Well, I guess go 21 games of the season now in their 22nd here. It's been a collective effort of great hitting and excellent pitching, and the hitting has been timely when they've needed it. Some clutch hits to secure a few ties in games that could have been losses, such as Braylon Wimmer's single against Chatham that tied it. Colton Bender had that big home run against Harwich. it's a resilient team that fights back when they're down, but for most of the season, they've had leads due to the starting pitching.
Yeah, the pitching's been really, really good. And to your point, the clutch hit, the Braves are never out of a game. Even when that game in Chatham, we really struggled early, they did make it close. So they don't never say die, and it really shows. The bullpen's been outstanding, and it's been fun. Every game's been a great time.
Patty here with a 2-1 pitch to Luke Gold. As Gold lines this one up the middle, that's going to get through for a leadoff single. As he takes a big turnaround first, as Lampy gets it in. And something else that the Braves have had a lot to brag about through the early course of the season is their defense. Second in the league in fielding percentage. It almost seems like there's a plethora of guys that are very versatile that can play all sorts of positions where they primarily play. Obviously, we've seen Colby Thomas in left. We've seen him in center. Joe Lampy, who's one of the best defenders in the league. And then Caden Wallace, what a welcome addition he's been, not only defensively but offensively primarily.
Well, you're really surprised that when the ball doesn't get caught. And kudos to you for saying plethora, by the way. I haven't heard that word in a while. Pretty soon you're using cornucopia on the for defensive plays. But for real, though, when the ball's hitting the outfield especially, you're really surprised when it's not caught. And that's really indicative of the whole league, but this team especially.
There's Nathan Martorella, committed an error defensively in the first. That was the Braves' first base runner, although still hitless today. And quickly 2-0. Jordan Patty was giving up a run in every one of his 3 outings, looking to avoid that here today. No action in the Braves bullpen. As the 2-0 is skied into right field, Caden Wallace doesn't have to move much, backs up a few steps, puts the squeeze on it here for out number 1. Darren, obviously there's been a lot of excellent alumni that have come through this Braves organization. Before I get to some of the more notable ones that are already established, talk about Henry Davis and the firstborn Brave being drafted number 1 overall and how much that meant to the organization.
Well, it was great, because what I remember about Henry, he was a couple of years ago, is what a great kid he was. Obviously a fantastic player, but most of these kids are polite and they're gentlemen, and he was one who really epitomized that, because he was so polite, so likable, just a lot of fun. So he's easy to root for a guy like that.
Eric Brown steps in, first pitch fastball there from Patty. Obviously another alumni. I know we had a fun conversation about this, which led to the reason why I had to sing Call Me Maybe on air, but Pete Alonso, obviously a 2015 Born Brave.
Well, you may look like the American Idol, but you don't sound like the American Idol. There you go.
Thank you. But that's a half-hearted compliment.
There you go. Pete Alonso was great to hear as well. He didn't hit 1 home run his entire summer.
That's crazy.
Which is a crazy stat.
And now
really
he's
really
1 home run derby championship away from being tied with Ken Griffey Jr. for the most ever, which is crazy for only his second time being in the derby. Now 2 for 2.
But even when he was here, he was very very polite. He was a fun kid to have around. He was one of the guys. He didn't stand out from anybody else. He didn't feel like he was better than anybody else. He really, got better as the summer went on, and he obviously has really made a name for himself in a tough place to play like New York.
Eric Brown chases through a beautiful breaking ball there from Patty. Had him swinging out of his shoes there. Count 1-2. An overcast night. It looks like the rain should stay away, though, Darren, from what we saw on the radar.
Yeah, the last couple of days. It hasn't been sunny all day. When was last morning it was sunny?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. The afternoon has gotten clear sometimes, but I heard, didn't you say it was one of the rainiest Julys in Massachusetts history? Or at least in the Cape?
It certainly felt like it. We had a couple summers ago where it rained, I swear. It was like Groundhog Day. It was just brutal. And every day was the same. But this year, here, we're kind of lucky because that canal does kind of keep the rain off sometimes. And we've seen, like the other night, the rain and the thunderstorms over the bridge. But here it stays away. So as long as it stays away, we can play in the gloom here.
Yes, exactly.
It's tough to play when it starts raining.
Not desirable, but we'll take it as long as there's baseball. Obviously, Cotuit, a team which, and you could kind of make a comparison, the Yankees of the Cape, 17-time champions of the Cape League. Would you say, in your heart, obviously you've been around here in this league, would you say Cotuit is the rival for Bourne, or does it get passed around different years depending on who's there?
I'd say it probably is historically. The Cotuit organization is a great organization. Their GM, Bruce Murphy, is a great guy, and he's someone who does a good job with his organization. It's just a solid group top to bottom, but certainly it's a group that you'd like to play and like to beat. They got a great ballpark. They got a loud fan base. They win. We won our one championship on their field in 2009, and it's just some great memories against them.
Yeah, obviously Mike Roberts over there in his 17th season. Used to be the head coach over at North Carolina. Had his son Brian Roberts play for quite some time in the major leagues, primarily with the Baltimore Orioles. Big strikeout there of Eric Brown. Now 2 down here for Alex Sayre. Newly arrival from Wright State. And obviously, as you look down this division, Darren, the Braves have a 6.5 game lead on Cotuit, 8 game lead on Falmouth, and a 9 game lead on Wareham, who has been struggling a bit of late. They've lost 5 in a row. They trail tonight as well. So this is a big win for the Braves yesterday. Obviously, they kind of have a stronghold on the division right now, but with every team losing in the division yesterday, the Braves gained 2 points on everybody else. Is on the move here. Peter Burns, throw down to second. It looks like it is on target, but they call him safe. Over there, Luke Gold.
Yeah, Peter Burns almost threw his teammate out. Luke Maroon and Gold down there. Lost line at the second base, unfortunately, but it's a close play. But it's interesting this year because it's not by games back or points. It's going by that winning percentage. And those ties really skew it. Rainouts are not being made up.
Yeah.
So you need to have Goodwill Hunting to figure out the standings by the end. And I think by the time we get towards the end of this season, it's going to be really difficult, especially, and you really hope you don't end up with a situation where the second and third place teams are really separated by an eyelash, because that's going to be tough to talk about.
Yeah, obviously going based on winning percentage, as you mentioned, those ties can kind of skew it, so it would be tough for a team who might have more wins on the season to be left out of the postseason at the end of the day because a team might have more ties than they do losses, which likely could present itself over in the Eastern Division, a divisional race that is uber tight over there. Every team separated by 5 points from top to bottom. That is the largest lead. 26 points for Brewster, and I should say 6 points, 20 for Orleans. And it was interesting for Orleans. They really got off to a hot start this year, especially offensively, but have kind of cooled down as of late.
Orleans is one of those teams that tends to pick up towards the end, very a la Falmouth historically.
Okay. This one bounced over to short. Christian Knapczyk gobbles it up. Long throw across the diamond. Nice pick over there by Josh Moylan. And Jordan Patty once again works around a leadoff single there from Luke Gold. Darren, would you want to stay for the bottom of the fourth? Love to have you.
Absolutely.
We'll be right back here from Doran Park in a scoreless deadlock. Bottom of the fourth inning as Dalton Rushing leads things off here for the Braves. Heart of the order, 3, 4, and 5. As the three guys do up this inning, they've been some of the more productive hitters in the Braves lineup as of late. Of that biting fastball from Brooks finds the inner half, 0-1. Obviously, this season means a lot for a lot of people, Darren, including yourself, but also for Harvey Shapiro down there, who obviously won the championship with Bourne in 2009. As a nice changeup gets Rushing to swing over the top of it, but for the first time in over a decade, looking to bring that hardware back to Bourne. So what does that mean for a guy like you and for a guy like Harvey Shapiro, who's done it for so long?
Well, for a guy like, for me, it means everything. To be honest, it just does. It's all the work you put in the offseason pays off.
Rushing, weak pop fly, shallow right. Out goes Eric Brown, and he'll make the catch out there, 1 down.
For Harvey, I mean, in a larger sense, Harvey's someone who's been here a long time. He just got inducted in the Cape League Hall of Fame. And you wouldn't know if we were 17-2 or 2-17 the way he works with the kids. He's always had the same mantra. He says, I want you guys to be better when you leave here than when you got here. I want you to be gentlemen. I want you to respect the game. And that's the only really 3 rules that he says to them. And he wants them to improve. Now, he's happy to win, but he's almost one of those coaches, he's almost harder on them when they win versus when they lose. And the most good coaches are.
Soft grounder over to third, and Compton's throw over towards Martorella as Wallace grounds out. 2 quick outs here in the bottom of the 4th for the Braves, who are still looking for their first hit against the league's ERA leader in Jake Brooks coming into play today, and he has definitely lowered that. Not much more you can do to lower a .43 ERA, but he's done so.
No, he's been as advertised. I mean, UCLA, big righty. Doesn't look like it's all that tough to hit from up here.
Yeah, exactly. Only 91, 92 on the velocity of that fastball, but has a lot of movement to it.
Now, admittedly, I'd probably hit him better, but I am older, so I have more experience. But these guys are doing the best they can. So
Darren, you'd probably hit a homer.
At least one, probably. No, but I think, going back to Harvey, he's a Cape League legend. He's been here for a long time. He's someone I talked to all season long, all year round, and putting this team together with him. And he's,
Ripped over to third there as Colby Thomas easily is going to beat that throw. It just deflected off the bottom of the glove of Drew Compton. Should be scored a base hit, I'd imagine. The Braves should have finally broken through. That was laced over there by Colby. What do you think, Darren? Is that a base hit? Wow.
Oh, an error?
Wow.
Well, I got to have a talk with old Bob.
Yeah. Bob is really trying to make these Bravos work for their first hit of the game.
We'll take his coffee away. We'll see how he is in the 4 innings from now. But everybody roots for Harvey. Harvey's a great guy. The players come back, whether they go pro or not. They all come back and see him, and he's happy to see them. He remembers all their names.
That's impressive. That is really impressive.
And they respect him. And many times we've had players who maybe felt that he was a little hard compared to what they were used to, and then they'll come back and say after playing single A rookie ball, you know something, I appreciate you because you prepared me for what was to come. They don't kiss my butt anymore like they did in high school or in college. And you treated me like somebody who had something to prove. And that's the common thing you hear from a lot of the guys who come back, which is really a testament to him overall.
Lampy takes one high. Well, a lot of these guys go from being the best of the best at wherever they play at their high school level. Then they come to college, and then especially when they come to this Cape League and they realize, whoa, there's some dudes out here. I'm good. I'm really good. I'm not the best guy, though, and it kind of humbles them in a sense.
In a lot of cases, this is their first humbling experience. These kids have been obviously stars all through Little League, all the way through high school. That's why they're in Division I baseball. They are the top of the level of college baseball players, which is why they're here. And a lot of times you get here, you automatically have to mentally take 100 points off your batting average and start from there and build from it. And sometimes it's a struggle for these guys, especially with the wooden bats and facing every starter is an ace. Every closer is a closer for a Division I team.
Yeah.
So you're facing the best. You can't take a night off because there's scouts watching you. So that there's pressure on these guys. It's you know what it is? It's a 10-week job interview, and they have to look at it that way.
On the move here is Colby Thomas as Lampy skies this one to left. Roberts over in foul territory, able to make the grab as he runs into that wall just before it gets out of play. Well, Darren, always a pleasure having you. Look forward to talking later in the season, and we'll send things here to the top of the 5th. Daniel Coates back on the play-by-play, and we come back here to Dorn Park, all tied up at 0. Reeves Jackson, Daniel Coates back with you. Bottom of this Cotuit lineup. And Daniel Coates, my friend, good to have you back. Sir, take it away.
Thank you very much. 7, 8, 9 due up for Cotuit. Brett Roberts. Always good to have Darren Weeks on, our general manager. A wealth of knowledge behind the microphone to bring to the Bourne Braves community. And it also puts in perspective how important it is and how special it is that these Braves are doing well. 16 wins and 2 losses. That's going to be right to Colby Thomas for a routine fly ball for out number 1. Jordan Patty continues to deal, has only given up 3 hits on the day.
Yeah,
2 errors from Cotuit have kept it at 0-0, but Jordan Patty, I mean, his second start of this season, and he is another pitcher that we can pin at the starting role and really depend on.
Yeah, absolutely. Jordan Patty's probably his best outing of the season so far against a really good Cotuit lineup, too. A lineup that has been pretty hot as of late.
Ryan Ritter from Kentucky. Oh, and 1. He grounded to Knapczyk at short his last appearance.
Well, if you want to know how good this Cotuit lineup has been this season, Daniel, there's one team that has scored more runs than the Bourne Braves. Well, it's Cotuit. Only by 2, 109 to 107.
A 1-1 count with 1 out. Fouled off after a beautiful-looking breaking ball from Patty.
Braves with the best streak of any team in the Cape right now with 5 consecutive wins. Obviously, down there, Hyannis trying to avoid losing their 13th in a row tonight.
Boy.
And Wareham trying to avoid losing their 6th in a row. Wareham team that's very good on a slide right now.
Battled off. It stays at 1 and 2 with 1 out. And the 5th inning that Jordan Patty has appeared in, there is action out there in left field in the bullpen.
Well, Hyannis is currently shutting out Falmouth 2-0, and Wareham down 8-4. So maybe one of those teams will break their streaks tonight.
An interesting night in the Cape League, huh?
Very.
High pop fly. There's Joshua Moylan in foul territory, and he catches it right on top of the chalk for out number 2. A good play by Joshua Moylan. Another first baseman we're seeing, Jordan Patty. I can't imagine he goes into the 6th inning. What do you think, Reeves?
Yeah, I'd say probably his last inning. If he gets through 5, especially with how well he's pitched, I'd say looks like Ben Etheridge in the bullpen right now. It is Ben Etheridge. So we'd see Etheridge take over. And Etheridge has been phenomenal ever since that little bit of a blow-up against Falmouth in the first game of the season.
First pitch swinging right over there. Max Anderson palms it, jumping up. Joshua Moylan, he tags him. They call him safe.
Oh, wow. Oh, Harvey Shapiro's coming out here. He's going to ask the home plate umpire.
They call him safe. I thought Moylan slapped the tag there on Matt Donlin. Here comes Harvey Shapiro.
Yeah, I think they're overturning this call. This is going to be the end of the inning right here, Daniel. I can tell you that. That'll be the end of the inning.
And they call him out. There we go. A bit delayed, but the result we wanted, and the Braves fans applaud an impressive defensive play. Max Anderson over to Joshua Moylan, and Jordan Patty through 5 innings. And boy, oh boy, what a performance he has put up, only allowing 3 runs, only allowing 3 hits, I should say, no runs on this game against our Western Division rivals, the Cotuit Kettleers. And I'm going to send it down to you, Calvin. What have you saw, and how would you rate this performance here from Jordan Patty, our starting pitcher?
Daniel, he was phenomenal tonight. 5 scoreless innings, his best appearance of the season. First time this year he's given up no runs in a start. He was great. Mixed up his pitches very well with the off-speed, the fastball, was punching guys out, didn't walk anybody once again, just 1 walk now on the season for Jordan Patty. That's over 16 innings. He's kept this Braves team in the game to this point. I'm sure he'd love a little bit more run support, but I believe his night is done, and he leaves with a great outing tonight. 5 innings of scoreless baseball. Stay tuned, because he could be a player of the game if that goes that way, but we'll see. But Jordan Patty with 5 of his best innings this year in a Braves uniform.
Scoreless in the bottom of the fifth in a game that is eerily similar and mirrors the game just a week and a half ago. Joshua Moylan, to start things off, he defensively ended the top of the fifth at first base, but again, a game that could be decided by one swing. Strike on the inner upper half. That game against Cotuit was last at Doran Park, 2-0. Garriola's two-run shot. 0-2 quickly to Joshua Moylan, who in his last appearance flew out to left field. No hits yet for the Braves. And a line drive right to third. There is Compton, who snags it above his head. Joshua Moylan getting robbed of a nice hit line drive down the left field line.
Well, it almost seems like when you're struggling at the plate and when you've kind of had season-long struggles, even the things that go right for you at the plate don't seem to go right. But he gets a pick-me-up in the dugout. That had base hit written all over it. It's one of the best swings we've seen from Moylan. So good sign from Big 35.
First pitch strike to Nick Goodwin, who struck out in the second inning. 0-1 with one out. We're creeping towards nighttime. Chopper to second. Fielded cleanly, and the throw was clean as well for out number 2. Again, the Braves putting up 2 outs for the Kettleers quickly, and here comes Peter Burns. And then the top of the order, Christian Knapczyk on deck. Peter Burns, as we mentioned, one of the best batters who can get on base, not necessarily hitting, but he is scrappy and he knows how to get the job done.
Yeah, he sure does.
Slapped. Looks like it might get over the shortstop. It does for the first hit of the game. Peter Burns stays at first with 2 outs in the bottom of the fifth. Posts the first hit for the Braves this night.
Well, if Colby Thomas's wasn't a single, we know for sure that was. Nice job there by Pete. Just dumps it into shallow center. And we know the Braves last night in the 5th inning with some 2-out magic of their own with Anderson and rushing. So maybe Knapczyk's able to split a gap here. We know that Harvey Shapiro was aggressive, sending Peter Burns to the plate at YD. Would he do the same here tonight? My answer is yes, if that happens.
And with Knapczyk up now facing 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th, Peter Burns is speedy. As I mentioned before, he has that catcher's twitch. He's quick and explosive. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Harvey Shapiro aggressive on the base path. On deck is Max Anderson. Line to left field. It gets down. Here comes Peter Burns. He's going to be rounding third. He's going to send him. Harvey Shapiro sending him home. It's not fielded cleanly on the cutoff. Peter Burns scores the first run of the game against the Cotuit Kettleers thanks to a Christian Knapczyk double to left field.
How about deja vu for the first run of the game tonight, Daniel? Just as we were talking about 5th inning magic with 2 down for the Braves yesterday, they do get aggressive. Harvey Shapiro does send Peter Burns, and even with the clean relay, I think Pete would have been safe anyways. Awesome job by Knapczyk. But I think Brett Roberts could have taken a better route to that ball, but we'll take it.
The Bourne Braves strike first at home 1-0. How about Christian Knapczyk at the top of the order? He continues to deliver as the leadoff hitter. Max Anderson, though, not done just yet. Let's give the Cornhusker his turn. Cut and a miss. Max Anderson doubled in the game last night at Spillane Field in our 1-0 victory. Could we see another 1-0 performance here tonight? And talk about Brooks. Up until this inning, he has been lights out for the Kettleers. 2 hits in the bottom of the 5th result in 1 run. Line down left, and that's just foul. Down the left field line by Max Anderson.
My goodness, thought that was going to get down and be fair.
These Braves are catching up to Brooks on the mound. Anderson on the day with 2 strikeouts, looking to bounce back here. He has a man in scoring position, the speedy Christian Knapczyk, who is tied at the top with Joe Lampe in stolen bases this season. Brooks with a fastball that drifts outside, 1-2. So the UCLA Bruin has fallen behind despite a stellar day for the Cotuit Kettleers. Roberts might be thinking of a pitching change here on the right side dugout. 2-2 now after a breaking ball, and there is action in the Kettleers bullpen.
We were told tonight, if the situation presented itself, that we could see Eric Brown on the mound tonight. He's never appeared in a game in college. If I had to guess, he appeared in games in high school, just the athlete that he is. But it would be an interesting move. I guess Cotuit, needing pitching. Not many guys out in that Cotuit bullpen. Obviously, they lost a lot to the draft. Still probably looking to replenish some of those pitchers. Hyannis has the same problem. Luckily for Bourne, Daniel, you lose maybe 3 of your best pitchers this season. And obviously, they go in the draft for a reason, and yet still have the best pitching staff in the league.
Full count now. Knapczyk stays at second. And I think the difference really is we were loaded at the relief pitching or the reliever position for our bullpen, and I think the main transition that we were nervous about, and now that those nerves have been calmed a bit, is the transition from a reliever spot to a starting spot. And Jordan Patty was really one of those guys who was kind of in between, and now with his second start of the season, he looks quite comfortable.
Yeah, he had an excellent performance today. Looking forward to seeing likely Ben Etheridge, if I had to guess. From who was warming up in the pen, it was Ben, so.
Payoff pitch battled off by Anderson. On deck is Dalton Rushing. You do not want to get to Rushing if you're Brooks here.
No, not at all. Dalton leads the team in OPS, leads the team in slugging percentage, is top 3 on the team in on-base percentage, obviously. The 2 things that factor into his OPS, on-base plus slugging.
Full count, taken to left field. Going back is Ritter, and that's going to be gone. Max Anderson slaps one over the wall in left field. The Braves add to their lead after a 2-run laser. 3-0, the Braves have stormed out in front on their home turf. How about the Braves exploding on Brooks in the bottom of the 5th, posting 3 runs off of 3 hits.
And now Mike Roberts out of the dugout. I tell you what, Daniel, that ball was a laser beam from Max Anderson. Brett Roberts went back. I thought it wasn't going to get over the fence just with the trajectory that it was on, and then you see the bullpen raise their hands. What a shot from Max. You feel so good for the kid who has missed so many homers that have been close to going to right field. And Jake Brooks, who was about perfect until that Peter Burns single. You see why Will Henschel said he's one of the most underrated players on the team. Peter Burns is the reason that this inning happened right here.
There is a pitching change coming up. We will tell you all about that in just a few moments, but the Braves have taken a 3-run lead in the bottom of the 5th.
Now pitching for Cotuit from Boston College, number 50, Joseph Gig. Now batting for the Braves, the DH from the University of Louisville, number 20, Dalton Rushing.
Max Gig on the mound for the Cotuit Kettleers, and Dalton Rushing trying somehow to answer this 3-run explosion that has propelled the Bourne Braves to a solid lead at home.
Yeah, my goodness, talk about that shot from Max Anderson. That ball was absolutely smashed into left field. But this is a guy in Max Gig who obviously the Braves have seen 11 innings for Gig on the year. And Bourne roughed him up for 2 hits and 1 run over 3 innings. He walked 2, struck out 5. So did strike out 5 of the 9 outs that he got. But once again for the second night in a row, Daniel, 2-out magic strikes again for the Braves in the 5th.
2 outs, and it seems like these Braves bats awaken when their backs are against the wall. So a 2-1 count. Gig's fastball looks a bit quicker than Brooks. 3-1. On deck is Caden Wallace, and thanks to a 2-run shot from Max Anderson to left field that barreled into the bullpen for the Braves, and that is a first at-bat walk. First batter faced for Gig, and he allows him on. Dalton Rushing going to take over first, and Caden Wallace is going to face the BC pitcher here, and not really what you want because these Braves have been so effective with 2 outs on the board.
Yeah, they have been. Nice job there by Dalton. Obviously, Gig walked 2, and his last outing against the Bravos, that was at Cotuit on June 27th, which what feels like 2 days ago, Daniel, when we were at Cotuit, but that was approaching to be, what, a little over 3 weeks ago?
Unbelievable, huh?
Right at, or I guess right shy of 3 weeks ago. That's crazy. Crazy how fast the summer has gone by.
It has gone by surely quicker than we imagined, but a game on our hands that could really define and set the tone for the rest of this season. 2-0, Dalton Rushing has to scurry back, not used to his speed being tested. Roberts coming out and wanting to have a word after a slew of balls from the Boston College Eagle. And there is going to be some warming up in the bullpen in right. But Roberts wants to just have a word and maybe calm the nerves of Gig, who's coming in now. The Kettleers facing 3-run deficit in Bourne, and how about the way that the Braves have responded? They were hitless for the first 5 innings, certainly not hitless in this half inning. It was all started by Knapczyk's RBI double that sent Peter Burns from first to third. Harvey Shapiro, aggressive with the base running, sent him home. Right after that, Max Anderson smashes one to left field for a 2-run homer. 3-0. The Bourne Braves have bursted out to a few runs. And how about Jordan Patty, though, Reeves? I mean, he's come in and he faced adversity with the offensive side of this game where the Braves had been silenced for the first half, and here comes Jordan Patty with some offensive support.
Yeah, obviously if the Braves are able to keep this lead and Cotuit doesn't end up at least tying it in this game, Jordan Patty is in line for the win now. Gotta love that for JP.
3-0 quickly to Caden Wallace.
Yeah, Mike Roberts, who just came out and had that conversation, long conversation with Max Gig. He has not been able to throw strikes.
First strike there on the outer half, 3-1.
Gig's got great velocity. 95 on the gun. We saw him last time in Cotuit. So if I had to guess here, obviously don't have it with us, but if I had to guess, roughly the same today.
3-1, that's going to drift foul to the left of the chalk. Gig coming in on the game with a 2.45 ERA for the Kettleers. Solid work from him thus far in 11 innings pitched.
Yeah, he's been pretty solid. He's walked 2 in at least every appearance other than 1. So 7 walks over 11 innings is not ideal, but he does punch out a lot of people too with 12 strikeouts. Caden trying to avoid going down here, though. Let's hope he can put it in play.
High fly ball. That's going to be to center. Grady underneath it for out number 3. The Kettleers escape from the bottom of the 5th, but the Bourne Braves post 3 runs. It's 3-0 in Bourne, Massachusetts. To the top of the 6th we go. Welcoming on our social media intern, Joe Sullivan, to my right. And Joe, you have a front row seat to one of the best, if not the best, of the teams here in the Cape League. And statistically, they are by far the best, 16-2-3. And the Braves just burst out to a 3-run lead. Joe, it's good to have you on. And what's it like being right by these guys in the dugout on a day-in, day-out basis?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Dan.
Of course.
This is awesome. Being around these guys, I've been around the Cape League a long time. I was a bullpen catcher with Hyannis for about 5 years. I played a little bit there. I interned there 2014. So I've been around the league a long time, and I've never seen a group of guys come together like this close and as quickly as they did. Probably the first week of practices when they were all just getting here, getting to know each other, they gelled instantly. Some of these guys, you'd think they'd grown up together. They're best friends. It's incredible to watch. I feel privileged to be a part of it, really.
Well, it is really cool, and some of the best work that we have done has been on the social media side. I know you're really well versed in photography, and you've done a lot of really cool things alongside our other social media intern, Ellie Coker, and just being able to post on social media on a day-in, day-out basis when our team is so good, 16-2-3. I mean, what has that been like? How has it been? I mean, these guys are a content machine in the dugout.
Literally, yes. When you're winning, it makes the content come pretty easily, and you can boast and brag a little bit online, which I like to do. So follow at Bourne Braves if you're listening, if you're not already, on all our social media platforms. But yeah, these guys they dive right into it. They love it. We're taking videos pregame during BP and stuff, and they're just goofing around. We're putting TikToks together. Like, it's so much fun. I got my master's in integrated marketing, so this is what I want to do. I want to manage social media and content creation and all that stuff. So yeah, I'm having a blast with it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Ben Etheridge now on the mound from Southern Miss faces a 2-1 count, and the bullpen, and particularly Eric Adler and guys like that, they love to take over the video and the camera. Right to Caden Wallace for a line out to right field for out number 1. And some of the best work that's been done has been through TikTok, and these guys are not shy of the camera. Zach Agnos, you can go through the entire lineup and really say, and the reason why I have to imagine they're doing so well is because their personalities are so outgoing, and for all these guys from different programs to come together and gel, it doesn't hurt that they can create content so well, and it creates traction for us as an organization.
Definitely, yeah. It's pretty easy to get good content out of these guys without even trying. We've been pretty lucky with all that. But yeah, guys like Zach, Christian, Adler, those guys, I take my camera out and they're posing, they're wrestling each other, they're doing goofy faces and all that. So it's a lot of fun. They're great guys and great ball players, and it's awesome to work with them.
1-1. Last time we saw Etheridge was at McKeon Park. Now 2-1. This is to Drew Compton, the third baseman. The Bourne Braves looking for their 17th win of the season. And when you look at a league like the Cape League, it's unbelievable to consider 17 wins with just 2 losses and 3. And as a former baseball player yourself, with the talent as high and as intense as it is down here, that is unheard of in a way down here on the Cape.
It's ridiculous, yeah. I mean, I don't know what the exact record is for winning percentage or most wins in a season. I know we're not going to get the full 40 games because of some rainouts, but this team is going to end up being one of the best ever to come through the Cape League for sure.
That one's going to drift foul, but just to the left of the chalk, and something that Reeves and I have chronicled throughout this season has been the departure of a lot of the bullpen. But Jordan Patty came in today through 5 innings and really just shoved out there. He only let up 3 hits and allowed the Braves an opportunity to come storming back there. Obviously, Max Anderson comes in and slaps. And we always joke, Joe, that Reeves and I were saying, you know, this team's probably not going to have a lot of power coming through this season. And boy, the home run ball has been so effective for them, and Max Anderson proved it again just an inning ago.
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day. We've kind of slowed down on the homers. I mean, Dalton had the other one the other day that was absolutely crushed. We had 3 at YD. So, but take that away. I mean, and before this game, we'd kind of slowed down. We started out with a lot of homers, and now we've been playing small ball, working base to base, and driving guys in, kind of the old-fashioned way, if you will. But
and we find a way, it seems, every time after that strikeout from Ben Etheridge.
Yeah. As a fan, even just watching these guys being around, you're like, we were tied last night in, the 4th or 5th inning before we scored, and I was like, there's never a doubt in my mind we weren't going to win the game just because we always find a way. It's incredible. Like the best team record-wise that I played on when I was in Legion, we went like 18-1. We lost one of the earlier games in the season, but like even that doesn't compare to this.
No.
I mean, that's a whole different talent level too, of course. I mean, this is the best of the best in the country for college baseball.
And, you know, you have a front row seat to it. A 1-1 count here for Etheridge. Swing and a miss there. This is the designated hitter, Luke Gold. And you are the man with the camera. If you don't follow him, JD Designs, as well as Joe Sullivan on Twitter and Instagram. He has great content and awesome pictures, chronicles this special season so well. And when you take out that camera and you're down there by the dugout, who's the one guy that always wants to be in front of it, and whether that's the bullpen or in the dugout in the lineup?
I don't know if I can pick one guy.
I think I saw Cole Chidoba and who was it the other day? They were working with the ball. Ken Turner, yes.
Yeah, really everyone is open to it, and that's a great thing to have in from my position now, because you don't know, you get a lot of guys who are camera shy, like, nah, I don't want to be on social media, whatever. But this team, it's literally, I can throw a camera in front of anyone, someone's going to at least smile and give me a peace sign or whatever. So yeah, it's awesome to work with these guys. They're so open-minded and outgoing, and make my job easy.
2-2, flared up. Luke Gold pops out to Christian Knapczyk. Joe Sullivan, our photographer and social media intern, who creates such great content that, again, makes this season even more special. Joe, thanks for having us on. If you don't follow him out there, Joe Sullivan on Twitter and JD Designs. We appreciate all that you do, and it was great having you on, Joe.
Good to have you on, or be on, Dan.
Appreciate it. We'll have you on soon. And the Braves hold a 3-0 lead. We're going to go to the bottom of the 6th for them to add on some more. Colby Thomas at the plate. Check swing. Looks like a foul ball, but Colby Thomas got on base 2 innings ago. That was with a ground ball to third. Called an error, but might have been borderline a hit. That's our scorer, Bob, who I think Darren Weeks was going to go have a word with. He wanted Colby to get that hit.
He sure did.
And Reeves, good to have you back on. We had
Thank you,
our
sir.
photographer and social media intern, Joe Sullivan. As I mentioned before, if you do not follow him on social media, please do so. He also has JD Designs, posts some of the best content on the Cape, and he is experienced. That one can't get through. Ritter guns it over to first for out number 1 for the Kettleers.
Yeah, just another example right there of
Arizona State University, number 4,
how
Joe
excellent this Cotuit middle infield is defensively. Just an easy play for Ryan Ritter that he makes look easy, but it's actually not.
Here comes Joe Lampe again, still looking to get out of his slump. 1 out in the bottom of the 6th. Showing bunt. That's going to be right down the third base line. Joe Lampe is going to be safe on an impressive bunt. If you can't see that on the video very well, it rode to the right of the chalk the entire way, almost hitting the third base bag. What a bunt by Joe Lampe.
Well, I told Joe at dinner last night, he told me to say this, if he gets his first hit in a handful of at-bats today, he told me to say it's simply because the Bourne Braves dugout got the pine tar ball back today. The lucky pine tar ball is back, and that is why Joe Lampe has gotten back in the hit column.
How about that bunt? And it gets over the catcher's head. Joe Lampe slowly trotting to second, was rounding second, maybe even thinking of third. Joe Lampe takes over for the stolen base leader on this team with 5. Time called. And the Braves seem to have quite a hold on this game. 3-0 there, the leader, with Joshua Moylan, the 7-spot hitter, and first baseman for the team up to bat. He has made contact both times he's gotten to the plate. Nick Goodwin on deck. Peter Burns, who was the catalyst of the 3-run bottom of the 5th, is in the hole.
And Josh Moylan just got unlucky in that last at-bat, Dan. You remember that hard line out over to third to Compton.
Joshua Moylan bloops one. There's the second baseman, Brown, to catch another pop fly from Joshua Moylan. Moylan has been making contact but just can't catch a break. Before that pop fly, it was a line drive to the third baseman, Compton, that robbed him of a base hit. Joe Lampe in scoring position with Goodwin to the plate. Goodwin is 0 for 2 on the day, grounded to second base in his last appearance. Oh and 1. Joe Lampe with the lead at second. One and 1, 2 outs on a very pleasant evening here
it
in
feels
Bourne.
great out. 75 degrees. It's not humid either.
A bit overcast, so we don't get the usual sunset that we see behind us as that pitch misses low. Nick Goodwin is one of those guys that we have seen time and time again at the bottom of the order. He's been a bit inconsistent, but when he is on, he is red hot. The Kansas State product has a chance to send in another run. Joe Lampe at second. Gig has really struggled with the strike zone thus far. 3-1 count to Nick Goodwin with Peter Burns on deck. That would be a BC versus BC matchup. That breaking ball catches inside. Full count and a payoff pitch from Gig. Upcoming, Joe Lampe still at second. The Braves lead by a few. chopper to second, scooped up, and he can't handle it. Did Goodwin beat him out? No, they call him out. Goodwin could not beat out the shaky bobble from Brown at second. But the Kettleers get out of that inning scoreless. To the top of the seventh we will go. Joe Lampe stranded at second. 3-0, the Braves still hold the lead at home.
Now batting, the first baseman from Cal Berkeley, number 18, Nathan Martorella.
Nathan Martorella will start things off for the Cotuit Kettleers, who trail by 3, and Reeves will take you through the next 2 innings.
Thank you so much, Daniel. First pitch is smashed into right field. That'll one hop in front of Caden Wallace, so Martorella begins the top of the 7th with a single off of Ben Etheridge, who went 1-2-3 in impressive fashion. And then you go back when you had our awesome Joe Sullivan on.
Number 2, Eric Brown.
And obviously, Daniel now with the Braves pitching another shutout tonight in a 3-0 lead and winning 1-0 last night. And here through 6 today, now 15 consecutive shutout innings by this Braves pitching staff, which has seen 7 pitchers. Sansone, Eknes, Bowers, Lovett, Adler, Patty, and now Etheridge. Is this one a check swing tapper back to the screen? 0-1.
And how remarkable is that? I mean, it almost sounds unreal that 15 innings can go scoreless with 7 pitchers on this Braves team. That is remarkable stuff, and it proves that the consistency does not waver as you go through the bullpen. And Ben Etheridge is proving that again here. He went 1-2-3 in the last inning, looking to do not 1-2-3 as he went on the leadoff hitter, but hoping to bounce back here and keep the lead for the Braves at 3.
Yeah, always tough to double up Eric Brown, but maybe you get into a double play ball here.
And Brown is 0 for 2 on the day, but came in with a .290 average.
My goodness, I tell you what, Eric Brown's a great hitter, but these Braves pitchers have made him look silly today with the breaking ball. Jordan Patty had a couple out of the shoe swings from Eric Brown. He just had another one right there on a beautiful curveball there from Ben Etheridge.
Yeah, Etheridge, I mean, the off speed that we've seen from some of these guys, starting with Michael Sansone and Ben Etheridge, as well as Jordan Patty even, the way that these guys have switched up their pitches is the reason why we're going on to a 15th inning of scoreless baseball that's carried over from yesterday at Spillane Field.
Etheridge didn't miss by much on that fastball, just missed away. 2-2 the count. It is 3-0 Braves here in the top of the 7th inning. Etheridge delivers, and the count will run full. As Cotuit is looking to avoid dropping to 500 on the season. Pretty wild, though, with as many ties as we have seen across the Cape League, Daniel. Cotuit and Hyannis each with 0. which is pretty rare.
It's incredibly rare. We even have 3 ourselves, but
Yeah,
there's no rhyme or reason behind it. It's just kind of how the cookie crumbles. But for the Cotuit Kettleers to go 11-11, again, it would allow us to really jump ahead in the standings and almost certainly have our sights headed for the playoffs.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. As Brown calls time at the plate. Team with the most ties in this league, the YD Red Sox, who we beat a few nights ago. 9-8-5. As obviously here on a Sunday night, every team in the Cape in action will get you a score update after this pitch. 3-2 is fly to the right field. Caden Wallace drifts back, but now comes in and makes the catch. Caden went on a bit of a roller coaster out there, but finds his way to the ball.
I'll tell you, out there in right field is not easy to navigate, especially with Froggy's pull at 300. We saw a home run when Hyannis came into town in that late dramatic victory. But we haven't really dealt a lot with right field. I think that's mainly because of the wind's battling that way, and Caden Wallace hasn't had a ton of action there, even though he sent a walk-off single to right field back on Wednesday.
Sayre steps in, fouls the first one off. There's 2 games that have gone final as part of the 5 o'clock start times out in the Eastern Division, as well as one team from the West, as YD in Orleans just called after 7 innings due to darkness. As this one, a shallow line drive into center. Joe Lampe on his horse. That's going to fall for a base hit. Martorella will easily pull into second, and the Kettleers have first and second here off of Etheridge.
Yeah, nothing Joe Lampe or Colby Thomas could do.
That's Sayre's second hit of the day.
2 quick singles off of Etheridge, but just got to bounce back. Only one out here, and an opportunity for a double play ball up the middle.
So YD taking care of Orleans 11-9, and Brewster topping the Wareham Gatemen. So Wareham now 6 consecutive losses. They lose 8-4. Eddie Marco with a quick visit here to Etheridge. As a few more scores to update you on. Bottom of the 7th in a Western Divisional matchup. Hyannis on top of Falmouth by a score of 2-1. So Hyannis looking to snap their 12-game losing streak as they look to go to 3-19 on the year. And as we take a look at some of the magic numbers, as kind of at the obvious halfway point, a little more than halfway through the season if you consider the rainouts involved here in game number 22 for the Braves. The Braves' magic number to clinch the first place spot in the division is 20 games, but to clinch a playoff spot in general, Daniel, is just 17 games. So if you just want to put a spot on the Braves getting 1 or a 2 seed, then that would be 17 games. But if the Braves want to have home field advantage in that Western Divisional matchup, the best 2 out of 3 in the first round, and lock up first place, that is 20 games. As a first pitch breaking ball called strike here to Brett Roberts, the left fielder, 0 for 2. He bounced out to Knapczyk and flied out to Colby Thomas. Braves 6.5 up on Cotuit, 8 on Falmouth, 9 on Wareham, and 15.5 games up on the Harbor Hawks. Roberts, who chokes up a little bit, 0-1 this ball, grounded to short. Knapczyk gloves it, flips to second, good one for 1. On to first, return throw, not in time. Roberts reaches on a fielder's choice, but a big second out there for Etheridge.
A huge second out, and even with a 3-0 lead, you don't want to give up any runs here and keep the Cotuit Kettleers lingering with a couple runs of a deficit, but I thought we were going to have a chance there at the double play. Roberts a bit too quick, but a good play by Knapczyk, who has made an incredibly smooth transition to the left side of the infield.
Ryan Ritter up to the plate, trying to crack open that goose egg that is on the scoreboard for the Kettleers. And a check first over on Roberts. Harwich is leading Chatham in the top of the 4th. That's over at Veterans Field, 1-0. The Braves are back home tomorrow night in a matchup against the Commodores before going on the road Tuesday against Harwich. Nice slider, gets Ritter to swing through it. The forecast for tomorrow looks a little more iffy, 50% chance of rain, and other than that, overcast throughout the day. And then Tuesday on the road at Harwich, Looks like one of the most beautiful days in the Cape, calling for sunny skies all day, high of 84, low humidity. This one bounced over to third, but foul, as Anderson made a nice play on it in foul territory. Count 0-2. Etheridge has Ritter right where he wants him. What are you going here with, Daniel, if you're Etheridge? You going fastball or you spinning off a breaking ball here?
I think I would try and have Ritter chase a breaking ball low and outside. I think, but again, you can't, a wild pitch that gets behind Peter Burns could put up the first run.
Should be interesting. We'll see what Etheridge comes with. 0-2. It is a breaking ball, and that does get past Peter Burns. Martorella with a late come to the plate. The throw from Burns, there will be none. And just as you mentioned, Daniel, foreshadowing a wild pitch, and one does happen, and coming home is Martorella, who was a little hesitant. He will come home, and the Kettleers are on the board 3-1.
Unfortunately, I was exactly right there. It was a good pitch. It just a little bit of miscommunication there between pitcher and catcher, and unfortunately the Cotuit Kettleers get their first off of one that gets behind Peter Burns. But that was the pitch that I wanted. Obviously not the result, though.
That one shot foul at the plate, as Ryan Ritter still protecting with 2 strikes. Although the Braves have given up 1, they still command a 2-run lead at 3-1. A wide open hole through the right side if Ritter wants to exploit that. A big pitch up and coming here from Etheridge. The 1-2 fastball way away. That gets off of Burns' glove. A second wild pitch here for Etheridge. It moves Brett Roberts, all the way up to third.
So Etheridge here, he's still ahead. 1-2, now 2-2. Just get out of this inning. Man on third now. Xavier Lovett is warming up in the bullpen out there in left field. So just try and get out of this inning. Only one little hiccup. Xavier, the new Texas A&M Aggie transfer, will be taking over in the 8th.
2-2 from Ben Etheridge. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. The big breaking ball gets Ritter to swing through it. And the Braves only surrender 1 as we head to the stretch with the Braves leading 3-1. It's the bottom of the Braves order as Nick Galley joins myself here As the fans just stretched here in the bottom of the 7th to the tune of Sweet Caroline. Sweet Nick Galley is.
Oh, my sweet Georgia Peach, Reese Jackson.
I was just setting you up for that. I was just setting that up. I love it.
That's the nickname now.
As Peter Burns, I was talking about it with Daniel. And obviously, Nick, Peter Burns was the catalyst of that 2-out 5th-inning rally. Second time that's happened back-to-back nights. Obviously, last night was Anderson and Rushing. And tonight, it's Burns who has that big 2-out single off of Jake Brooks and then turns it over to Knapczyk, who scores him with the double. Obviously not the best route taken by Brett Roberts, but then Max Anderson's big 2-run homer. And the Braves currently have a 2-run lead after the Etheridge wild pitch. Nick, what have you seen from the Braves so far against their division rival?
Well, it's kind of crazy because Peter Burns broke up a no-hitter through 4 2/3. Base knock, a little bloop single, did the job. And that just kind of let the floodgates wide open. Just let them wide open. Bourne strikes for 3 runs, 3-1 lead. Obviously, you don't like to give up a run on a wild pitch, but you have a 3-run cushion. You know, stuff like that's going to happen throughout the course of a game. You can accept it. You still got the lead, and with the way this bullpen's been pitching for the majority of the season, a 2-run lead is pretty decent. You know, I mean, you'd like to get some insurance, no doubt about it, but you know your bullpen can pitch with a 2-run lead.
Absolutely. 2-2 count here to Petey.
You got nicknames for all these guys now?
I sure do. I don't know him as well as you, Nick, but you gotta. The team calls him Petey, so I call him Petey. I called Jordan Patty earlier JP.
Oh, my goodness. Take him out to dinner first or something, my God.
3-2 here to Peter Burns. And he swings and misses. Good pitch from Gig. Strike 3. Top of the order here in Christian Knapczyk. He squares to bunt. This one is popped over towards the Bat Boys. How about that bunt from Joe Lampe?
That was beautiful. I tweeted out that was I said that was the most beautiful bunt we've seen on the Cape because that thing just crept right down the line, whole length of the base path.
Well, I made sure to give him credit because it was the pine tar ball, just like you told us a night ago.
Fantastic, man. Fantastic.
Joe's going to be happy to hear that. 0-1 here to Knapczyk. And that one, generous call, outer half. Nice frame job there by Donlin.
We needed him to get that hit tonight, too, so the story of the pine tar ball kind of goes on. I'm going to be covering
some
that.
Life.
Exactly. I'm going to be covering that very soon here, so I'm glad to see that he got the hit.
Knapczyk.
That's a knock.
Ropes this
Come
one.
on now.
Knapczyk a single into right field, and the Braves get another base knock from Knapp. You like that nickname?
You're going crazy. What is there something I missed? Like, are you secretly like going fishing with these guys after the game or something before the game?
And we're with each other all the time.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Lampy is not Lamp.
My goodness.
Just kidding.
I'm gonna vomit.
That one is a joke. I had to because of Lamp. Obviously, Anderson right back to Gig. I don't know why he didn't go to second first, but opts to just go the short way. Yeah, moves Knapczyk over to second. Both Ryan Ritter and Eric Brown looking awfully confused over there at second base.
I would be too, honestly.
I think Gig knows he messed up. But regardless, the Braves have a runner in scoring position.
I'm telling you that right now, those are the kind of plays that cost you runs in baseball. I mean, I look at this. I got Dalton Rushing coming up to the plate with a guy in scoring position after Christian Knapczyk should be out right now. You know, that's you're messing with karma. You're messing with fate right there. Messing with destiny,
Messing with destiny. Here's Dalton Rushing. Can one Cardinal drive in another? First pitch, slider. Donlin tried to steal a strike, but that was off the plate. 1-0. Got to give a shout-out to Michael Hinojosa. He's been one of the most consistent umpires that I've seen on the Cape thus far. We've had him for a lot of our games. But Hinojosa, who's behind the plate tonight, I feel like every time we have him, he's got a consistent zone. And he's been excellent. 1-0 Rushing. Skies this one out of play.
Oh, that's Concessions Roof right there.
That is Concessions Roofbound. What did it hit, Nick? Did it hit close to the smokestack?
A little bit short. A little bit short.
Okay.
from Reeves Jackson abbreviating everything, giving everyone nicknames, I'd be, oh yeah, that's CR Roof right there. Or no, that's just CR. Concessions Roof, baby.
That's CR. Here it goes. 1-1 here. Gig to rushing. That one misses inside. We heard before the game, Nick, I was talking down at Cotuit's broadcasters who I go to school with, and they were saying that Eric Brown could be featured out of relief tonight. Very possibly.
Middle infielder, right?
Middle infielder.
Yeah.
Two and one rushing. Grounder over to first to Martorella. He's going to flip over to Gig. Can he beat rushing? He does. And they will get him. As we'll send things down here now to our Calvin Cristoforo. And Calvin now, obviously, with this Braves bullpen that has been so effective on the season, just talk about their effectiveness with them being around each other all the time and kind of how it rubs off on each other. Is their success contagious so far this season?
Well, you know what, Reeves? They've both been special. These two guys have established an 8-9 role. I think Ben Etheridge is going out for this half inning, so we might not see Xavier Lovett. But Eric Adler at the back end of this bullpen has been so good this season. 9 innings pitched, all scoreless, 5 saves, and 19 strikeouts. He's been great. Xavier Lovett has kind of put himself in that 8th inning role, too, and he's been very good as well. 6 of his 7 appearances have been scoreless, striking out 5 and 6 1/3 innings work. So those two guys have been great in the back end of this bullpen for the Bravos, and they might need it tonight as they only hold a 3-run lead here in the top of the 8th inning.
Back with you here, Calvin. Great report down there. Obviously, this has been a Braves bullpen that has by far and away been the best in the league, Daniel. You can thank guys like Cole Chidoba and Austin Parsley a few nights ago, and even tonight, Ben Etheridge, just one of many of these relievers. Obviously, Xavier Lovett, Vreeling, Eric Adler, the list goes on and on and on. You can't say enough good things about the bullpen this season.
No, you can't, and that's the reason why we've been so consistent. That scoreless 15 innings that we were talking about was just snapped, unfortunately. But Ben Etheridge is going to come out again. Looks like Xavier Lovett will be held for a little longer. I like the call by Harvey Shapiro. The bottom of the order, Matt Donlin due up, and here he is along with Chase Grady on deck. But can't say enough about this bullpen. They come in and just shut down teams, and the starters, and the starter tonight, Jordan Patty, not far off.
Wouldn't be surprised if we saw Eric Adler for the second night in a row after short work last night. Adler currently doing some bands out there in the bullpen. Very well could be on for the ninth if Harvey Shapiro chooses to do so with a 2-run lead. Back-to-back, beautiful breaking balls takes care of Donlin. And a good start for Etheridge. 3 pitches, 1 down.
Now batting, the center fielder from Dallas Baptist.
I'm surprised to see Ben Etheridge, but how about the confidence that Harvey Shapiro has in him, sending him back out again after a breaking ball low and outside, gets behind Peter Burns and scores the first Cotuit Kettleer, but he just proved there that he hasn't skipped a beat coming back.
Here's Jace Grady, top of the Cotuit lineup now. Grady on the day is 0 for 3 as he faced Etheridge back in the 6th. That was the first out Etheridge recorded. 1-0. And a beautiful breaking ball that sweeps across, catches the inner half, a ball and a strike. Xavier Lovett still getting loose down there. We see Adler stretching. Could be interesting to see whether Harvey Shapiro wants to go with Xavier, who pitched a night ago but only got 1 out through just, what, maybe 2 or 3 pitches. Is another breaking ball. Etheridge utilizing that pitch to his success thus far, 1-2. Or Eric Adler, who threw in the low teens as far as number of pitches goes. So one of those guys likely is going to be seen for the second consecutive night. Just don't know who it'll be yet. If I had to say someone, it would be Adler in just a 2-run game against one of your divisional rivals, but we still don't know. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And tonight's game would tip the scale in this matchup, 1-1 at the moment.
Yeah, would give the Braves obviously advantage in the win column. And obviously one of those games against Cotuit was postponed. Still, we'll see them 2 more times after tonight. That's a breaking ball called strike 3 outer half. And another beautiful pitch by Ben Etheridge. And after a wild pitch that brought home a run in the 7th, back to his normal self here an inning later.
2 batters faced and 2 strikeouts. That's about as effective as you can get. Only a couple of balls there, but Drew Compton looking to go up against what looks like a red-hot Ben Etheridge.
He struck out Compton his last time, looking to provide him the same fate here. As that one is skied into shallow left. Colby Thomas coming in. A long way, lays out, makes the catch in foul territory. That's why he's one of the best, ladies and gentlemen. Colby Thomas with an outstanding catch and sends the Braves bats back to the plate in the bottom of the 8th.
Right fielder from the University of Arkansas, number 15.
Caden Wallace gets things started for the Braves here in the bottom of the 8th inning. It'll be 4, 5, and 6 here against Gig, and Wallace sends a shot into center field. That is carrying Grady back to the warning track where he puts a squeeze on it. And Caden Wallace on 1 pitch is retired. So Gig, who struggled to throw strikes when he came out of relief for Jake Brooks, but he settled down. He hasn't allowed a run here now. Daniel, he's actually pitched excellent.
Yeah, he has pitched excellent and started that off with Caden Wallace, whose day might be over at the plate, 0 for 3 with a walk back in the first. But Colby Thomas, talk about a guy who's hit it hard today, but just can't find any type of gap or really a break, because that one was a hard hit ball back in the 4th to the 3rd baseman that was scored as an error instead of a hit, and I thought it should have been a hit.
And Colby's going to make sure he gets on the board in the hit column today. He laces this one into left field, and Colby Thomas continues his hot hitting of late with a stand-up 1-out double.
That is absolutely huge. There was a massive gap between Roberts and the left field foul line. Colby Thomas proves that he is completely on top of the baseball as of late, sends a frozen rope down the left field line.
And now it is the bunt master, Joe Lampe, who placed one of the more perfect bunts you will ever see in any level of baseball his last time up, as the 3rd baseman, Drew Compton, let it roll all the way down to the 3rd base bag before picking it up. Ball didn't even touch the grass, just rolled right on the dirt. As Compton now plays in at the bag at 3rd, and a breaking ball taken for a strike, but I assume Lampe will be a full go when it comes to swinging away right here.
I'm sure the Kevin Graber down there would be very happy to see, or was very happy to see that bunt from Joe Lampe. Always starts these guys off telling them to take a bunt or two before they get into BP.
Nothing into the count. Here against Max Gig. As we look in the Braves bullpen, and it is Eric Adler who is up and loose. It appears it'll be Adler's ninth. And boy, oh boy, we're happy to see that that's probably the case. In a 2-run Braves lead, looking to add on an insurance run. I think that's the right call from Harvey there. You got to have Eric in back-to-back days here in close games.
Yeah, I agree, especially in a game that is so important as far as confidence going up against the Kettleers, who took the last game 2-0 when we were here at Bourne. So don't want to take any chances, and you know the best way to do that is to put Eric Adler in.
Lampy checks the swing, but appears he held around, and he did. 2-2 the count. Lampy, a Sun Devil at Arizona State, really enjoyed his first year in Tempe. It's a fun town in the beautiful state of Arizona, right near the big city of Phoenix, and right near Scottsdale. Count runs full to Lampy. Ever been out to Arizona, Daniel?
I have. I've been to Sedona. I did the Pink Jeep Tour for anyone who went out there.
There you go.
Went to the Grand Canyon.
Love it. Lampy with a chopper. That Gig is going to glove, and he'll toss it over to first for the second out of the inning. Colby advances to third.
But I was joking with Joe Lampy and even Hunter Olmwood, who's going to Grand Canyon University next year. If they were getting used to the humidity out here, they're used to the heat, but not necessarily the humidity of being right by the canal. So he says he can't even move without sweating, which is different than when he's in Arizona, but it looks like he hasn't skipped a beat in his Cape Cod League career out here.
Yeah, obviously the dry heat out there. I was kind of amazed to see it. I was out there in April for a family wedding as that breaking ball taken for a strike. It was, 96 degrees, and I was like, this is unbelievably cooler than 85 in Georgia, which is crazy. 0-1 as Moylan cuts through a breaking ball, 0-2.
Would love to see Moylan add one more to this run total for the Braves. He has gotten robbed a couple of times. He's hit the ball well and contacted it very consistently in every at-bat that he's had, all three today, but he's gotten robbed, just hasn't been able to put it in the right spot.
0-2, just off the plate. Another great crowd here at Bourne Park, just over 1,400 filed in here tonight. Obviously, Cotuit bringing a good amount of those fans, too. Cotuit always brings a great road crowd wherever they go. 1-2, Moylan fouls it off. Just got a piece of that on the end of the bat.
Way to battle, and how about Gig going through this bottom of the 8th? I didn't think that we were going to see him, especially after Roberts had a meeting with him last inning. But Gig has been the guy and has responded beautifully since. Another BC guy out here, huh? 3 today.
Yeah, the Eagles all over the place. As that one hits Moylan, he'll be on his way to first base. As he gets a rise from the dugout, Josh Moylan aboard. Nick Goodwin will have a chance with runners on the corners. As Braves leading 3-1 tonight. Reeves Jackson and Daniel Coates, happy to have you along with us from Bourne Park. We're happy to be back home, where we'll have a bunch of home games here coming this week. Monday and Wednesday, the soonest here. Tomorrow versus Falmouth, and then Wednesday again versus Falmouth. And on the road at Harwich on Tuesday. That is the upcoming 3-game schedule for the Braves after tonight's bout against the Kettleers. Excited to go back to Harwich. White House Field, what a beautiful place.
Yeah, it's gorgeous there, and it's one of the better setups that we've had as an away broadcaster, just right up there against the fence. And we were in the Shark Cage last night. That's my personal favorite. Shark Cage during Shark Week.
Yes, right.
For our radio audio-only broadcast on our YouTube live stream. And that was a 1-0 victory. The Braves getting it done with low-scoring affairs.
The Braves are off Thursday, and then they're back home again on Friday. A part of 2 Friday night home games. That's against Orleans. Before the Braves go to Chatham on Saturday, July 24th, Daniel. I think that's my most anticipated game. You get the military flyover on Saturday night. It's going to be a special night at Veterans Field. Is that one taken in the dirt? Lucky to be a part of that one. It is undoubtedly the most anticipated game at Chatham every year outside of their postseason games if they make it. So the fact that we get to be a part of that here this year in 2021 is super cool, and we're really looking forward to that game.
And for a team in a park that has such a great setup and is such an extensive fan base, that day is going to be something else, huh? I got to imagine there's going to be a ton of people there.
Goodwin goes down swinging, but we'll see if it's Eric Adler on the ninth. We'll have Daniel Coates tell you all about it when we come back here to Doran Park. Thank you, Daniel. Reeves Jackson, Daniel Coates here back with you in the top of the ninth inning.
Standoff right there.
Well, usually we always turn it over to whoever's doing play-by-play next. And, well, now I'll turn it over to you, Daniel, as Eric Adler on. What a guy to have here to close things out tonight.
Yeah, Eric Adler in his 10th game appeared and has only been seen in the 9th inning, and he has been lights out. No runs allowed against Eric Adler, the Demon Deacon. He has been just absolutely dominant throughout every single appearance that we have seen him in, and we saw him last night in the bottom of the 9th against Wareham.
Yeah, got the save against the Gateman, ended up recording 2 strikeouts, and Daniel, one of the more exciting pitchers in the entire league. I'd say, honestly, maybe the most dominant one-inning pitcher that you could go to here in the Cape League, as 19 strikeouts in just 9 innings for Eric Adler. A multi-strikeout game in 6 consecutive games, and in 8 of the 9 that has appeared in this year. His 10th game here in the heart of the order.
10th game here, Eric Adler back on the mound, breaking ball to start things off on the inner half for strike one. 3-1, the Bourne Braves are on top of their Western Division rival, the Cotuit Kettleers, defending Doran Park. 0-2 quickly after a laser goes foul just to the left of the fence.
ACC foes battling here. The Demon Deacon versus the BC Eagle.
Luke Gold, who leads the team in home runs with 4. Nothing really going offensively for the Cotuit Kettleers. The only way that they were scoring was a pass ball by Peter Burns from Ben Etheridge. 0-2. Breaking ball, slowly hit to Christian Knapczyk. He beats out Luke Gold to his throw to Max Anderson, who's transitioning from third base to first. Out there at third is Zach Agnos, out number 1.
Yeah, obviously Harvey getting the defensive replacements and ensuring the security of all the outs with one of the more sure-handed guys at Agnos at third. Anderson's been great over at first, or he transitions over there, so trying to lock things down. Nice play by Knapczyk.
Nathan Martorella here. An easy mid-90 fastball from Eric Adler.
In as many appearances as Adler has had this year, this is his first time against Cotuit.
High fly ball. This is to Joe Lampe in center. Right into his glove for out number 2. 1 out away, and Eric Adler has not skipped a beat in just 24 hours since his last appearance against the Wareham Gatemen.
Eric Brown, the last hope tonight, the last hope, and the last chance to make good on that promise he promised Cotuit. The fans and the interns before the game that he said he'd hit a homer, Daniel. So Eric Brown today, 0 for 3. You can't promise a homer and not hit one.
Low for ball 1. (1-0) to the last hope for the Kettleers, Eric Brown. Foul ball, 1-1. Eric Brown, 0 for 3 on the day, most recently in the 7th, flew out to Caden Wallace and Wright.
I say you go breaking ball again here, and then you come at him with a 1-2 heater if he doesn't get out.
One and one.
I think he's going to go fastball, though.
And that is a breaking ball low and outside. 1 and 2, 2 outs. The Braves are on top by 2, 3-1 at Doran Park.
Well, went back to the breaking ball, so I say light him up with fastball right here, Daniel. What do you say?
I think you go high here with a fastball. 1 and 2, 2 outs. For win 17. Fastball on the inner half. That's gonna do it. Eric Adler for the 10th time says so long, ladies and gentlemen. He tucks in the Kettleers, turns off the lights, and says good night, everyone. 3-1, the Bourne Braves get win number 17. The Kettleers go down on the road.
What a game for the Braves. This is one of the biggest wins of the season. You have the ERA leader in the Cape League in this game, obviously coming into play against these Braves. And the Braves take care of Jake Brooks, a .43 ERA, and in every inning that he started this game, Daniel, he kept lowering that ERA until Peter Burns with that bloop single in the center. And when he did it, it didn't mean much at the time, but boy, was that a big hit in the game. The Braves go on. Knapczyk scores him with a double hitter later, and then Max Anderson, the big two-run homer, and the Braves never looked back.
The Braves never looked back. 17-2-3. It sounds weird
for
a baseball team to say that is their record. That is unheard of, but the Braves celebrate in the middle of the infield. How about the performance from Eric Adler in his 10th appearance? Continues to shut out teams on a nightly basis here. Max Anderson with a home run to left field. Peter Burns continuing to be one of the players that I wouldn't even say he's underrated anymore. He just knows how to get it done. He gets on base, moving from first to third off a Knapczyk single RBI, and that started things off in the Braves. As you mentioned, Reeves never looked back.
Well, now a 2-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio for Adler, 20 Ks in 10 innings this season. So Adler's been that impressive for the Braves as he has not allowed a run in 10 innings, and he's closed out every single game that he's been in. That's so hard to do. You feel like one of those games you might run into some trouble, but Adler is yet to. He's by far and away, in our opinion, and I think maybe the facts would say it too, that Eric Adler is the best relief pitcher in this Cape League this season, which just goes along with the storyline of how excellent this Braves bullpen and Braves staff has been from a pitching standpoint in 2021. They do it. Jordan Patty was excellent over 5 innings, and then obviously Ben Etheridge out of relief, and then finally Eric Adler. They did it with 5 last night. They only needed 3 tonight.
Well, Eric Adler finishes it again 3-1. The Bourne Braves take away the win, and that is number 17 on the season against the Cotuit Kettleers team, who a week and a half ago came into Doran Park and took a 2-0 win. We now have a 2-1 record against the Cotuit Kettleers, who I would consider our rivals in the West in that number 2 spot just behind us. Our lead in the West continues to grow. For Reeves Jackson, my name is Daniel Coates, and our entire broadcasting crew here at Doran Park. They do an unbelievable job, and another win here at Doran Park continues this sensational season. That's going to continue tomorrow here at Doran Park once more. Thank you, everyone. Good night, and go Braves.